You're all in trouble now. All right. So I'm George Shepard, Chair of the Conservation Commission for now, and I call the meeting of the Conservation Commission to order. Members present include Navneet Handal, Melissa Webster, Sylvia Willard, Tony Kazuski, and Brian Murphy. Remotely connected are Conservation Administrator Megan Sullivan and Noel Beland, Planning and Land Use Coordinator. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by telephone or Zoom web conference, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, be aware that other participants may be able to hear you, and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All participants should keep their phones or microphones muted unless recognized by me. I will call on each speaker to address the commission. If you wish to address the commission, please click on the raised hand icon or ask to speak by posting a request in the chat feature. Please identify yourself at the start of the remarks. All right, my work's done. Let's get to work. Well, he says, turning to the agenda. Sorry, I lost my big screen, so I have to work primarily from paper today. But we'll manage. So it is now 7:05. So the query is there any input from the community that they would like to present or discuss? Hearing none at this moment, we'll move on to the 7:05 item, which is now 7:05, Land Stewardship Committee update. Do
Hey,
we have a
George.
representative?
Yes,
Yep.
George, it's Chris Spinney, Chair
Hey,
of the Land Stewardship Committee.
thanks, Chris.
Yep, we had our meeting a couple weeks ago now. One vote was to issue a land use permit for the Cranberry Bog for a number of students, homeschooled children. We issued the land use permit, but they subsequently canceled and we'll have to reschedule. So we'll have to take that up again sometime if they choose to come back.
Okay.
We did a review. We've got a file that's working that's got sort of the budgeted items, some of the committed tasks that we already have in our budget, the mowing and the um, herbicide treatments and some of the mowing contracts that we've gone out to bid for and the herbicide treatments and looked at what's remaining from our budget, which I think Alex calculated something like 15,000. But under that is number of lists of different tasks at different properties. And so we're sort of maintaining that list and going to be using that going forward, I think, to come back if after we prioritize what we think we need to do, prioritize that list and come back with sort of tasks that we want to undertake. But one of the other things we did have, at least we talked about at least two site visits at our meeting as well. We went to Foss Farm and got a tour of Foss Farm. We talked to um, Mark Duffy. Jonathan DeCock was there to show us around. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to the Pony Club, but want to do that as well at some point. But during that visit, there were a couple of things that we sort of identified um, that we want to get projects going on. In particular, the parking lot. And so the two votes we took were one is to um, sort of cut back some of the encroachment into the parking lot from the forest, succeeding into beyond the fence and sort of scrub oak and things growing in the parking lot itself. So we took a vote to authorize removal of that, although we're not, we stopped short of, expending funds to do it, but think it could probably be done by some volunteers if if we can. If not, we may have to come back for some budget on that. But
Okay.
the second thing was to set up a meeting with Jim Hall and the DPW to get his recommendation on working the erosion problem over there at the parking lot Foss Farm. Um,
So you've just set up a meeting with Jim? Is that the idea, or
yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to
TBD?
do. We haven't done that yet. Haven't talked to him yet, but there was a vote to authorize the removal of the vegetation, and I guess I was wanted to come to the commission to see about how LSC votes will be acted upon if during my updates you want to take um, you know another vote if the conscom needs to vote on that as well, or do we maybe we set up sort of a separate land use meeting and go over the list of items at some point, and then where we don't have to bog down this meeting with small things that we're trying to get accomplished. Um, but
Okay.
that's where we left it. So, um, like I said, we talked about a little bit on the parking lot. I, was using that to see, well, how do we go forward with these sort of votes that we take, and whether the conscom wants to also vote on them, because I hesitate to do that because I think you could get bogged down in some of the discussions that we've already sort of taken place and so forth. Um, and I don't want to, I think the job of the LSC to sort things out and bring them to Conscom, but it's up to you how you want to proceed with something like that. It's
So
it's
how
it's
do we?
kind of it's kind of a charter question for me, really, um, in how we
Well,
proceed.
let's. Can we use the parking lot as as an example and so on? Do you have a plan on what you'd
I
like
do
to
have
do?
a little drawing I can share. I don't know if Megan put it in the packet, but I did send it to her, and albeit not not very promptly. Um, let me if you allow me, I'll share my screen. Yeah,
I
okay.
think she's working on it.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is a view, head view of the parking area. And I've drawn on here the bordering wetlands. My red circle is 100-foot radius circle, 50-foot radius circle, so it's 100-foot diameter. But the area I'm talking about here is in yellow. There's a fence along the edge of the parking lot where you would end up parking up against the fence. But a lot of the overhanging trees have sort of sprouted new growth along that fence. And up at this north side here is the gate that goes into the community gardens. And then the other issue is to talk about um, how to regrade and how the DPW would suggest managing the erosion problem. Because right now we've got some rivers going sort of through this gate and into the trails. The Trails Committee was at our meeting and they would like to do something about that as well. Um, we didn't take up any of these issues, but essentially just wanted to talk to Jim Hall and get his recommendation.
Okay. So your next meeting is scheduled for when?
August 12th.
8/12.
18th. I'm sorry, August 18th.
Okay. And are these topics on your agenda or proposed to be on your agenda?
This was taken up at our last meeting, and voted on. What we might talk about is, you know, how we can go forward and get it done, and how, where it is on our priority list.
Okay,
It just seemed like an obvious sort of solution where the forest is encroaching on the parking area.
right. Makes sense to me.
So Chris,
So I would,
so
Go
to
ahead,
your,
Megan.
do you want to go ahead, Navneet?
sure, to your question about the procedural aspect, I 100% agree with you that like it does feel like, well, you've debated it, you've talked it through, you voted on it. How does the cons come? Like, what do we need to do that all over again here? I'm sorry, the Land Stewardship Committee did that. Does the conscom need to do all of that all over again? I don't think I want to see it done all over again, but I think the what brought us to that new charter was the lack of sort of formal blessing, shall we say, from Conscom on the Land Stewardship Committee's decisions. So I feel like maybe once a month there be a very it takes some efficiency in presentation, but like here's the issue, this is what was debated, this is what was discussed, this is what was voted. Do you guys agree? And some of this is going to be have to be on our part as commissioners to be keeping our ear to the ground and knowing what's going on, but then also trusting you guys, which we do. And if you guys have come to consensus and this is the decision, then we vote on it and we make it as efficient as possible, not like these other items on our public hearings, et cetera, that are discussed and the detail that are debated. We just kind of go through it. And if there's a major issue, then this is a time where public has an opportunity to say, hey, we didn't like Land Stewardship's Committee's decision, and this is why. And then it becomes a bigger item to discuss and maybe gets postponed to a later meeting agenda. That's how I envisioned it. I
Mhm.
don't know what everybody else feels, but I don't want us to get right, potentially have that issue that led us to this moment arise again.
Right, right. Neither do I, and it's kind of why I wanted to bring this to the commission, as sort of a test run. And I guess maybe what I'd like to have is maybe a bigger section of your agenda at some meeting
Yeah.
to go over all the different tasks. And when we work through the details, I could update you during the update section.
I like a standing
Maybe that's,
placeholder for Land
yeah,
Stewardship Committee,
yeah,
like actual votes. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's reasonable. What frequency would you
Well, maybe, you know, monthly at this point, maybe if things get more active, we can, I mean, I try to make all the lands, we try to make all the CONSCOM meetings. So I
Mhm.
think maybe it's just um, like I said, get a chunk of the meeting um, to go over some of the plans. And then you understand what we're working on. And then, as we sort of work through the details, uh, get that update to you.
I think
I
that's
think that makes a lot of sense. I
Okay.
guess, um, do the notes from your meeting actually incorporate what we just talked about? That here's the issue, here's what we saw.
Well, that's another, we're still, what's the right forming, or we haven't uh forming section of our um land steward. So
Procedures.
we're
Yeah.
still,
Okay. Okay. Well, Chris, you're in charge, so we look to you to direct how you would like to proceed and present that to the conscom, and then we can take action.
yeah, yeah.
Sylvia, you have your hand up a long time.
Yes. Um, just so you know, as liaison, I was on that site visit. And as far as the parking lot goes, in the early 2000s, I was involved with a significant repair of the fencing along that line of the parking lot. And I can assure you there were no trees or vegetation between the fencing and the parking lot itself. It's really grown in fairly significantly from what I remember. We couldn't have done the work that we did had there been any trees, shrubs, or whatever there at the time. And also last week, when we were having some of our rain events, I drove down to the parking lot and stood around and watched how the water worked. And it is doing something now that it never did before. And probably 5 or so years ago, there was some material put in one part of the parking lot that seems to be impervious to drainage of water. And so the water comes from a high ground that's just parking lot side of the gate that goes down into the parking lot, goes down to the Foss Farm. It comes down and it does a divide, and a small amount goes on the, say, the Bedford Road side, goes out the parking lot and is joined by some road drainage that's coming down on the parking lot side of Bedford Road, and then goes into the catch basin there. But the main flow goes down on the other side of that impervious stuff, and goes through the gate, and it goes downhill. You can see it. You can see where it goes there.
Yeah.
It's something about that material. It's kind of a compact gravel. And I think what was happening before was there was a kind of a sheet flow, so that probably all went out toward the road. But now that's not happening, because the materials are two different kinds of materials, and the water doesn't like one of them. It's interesting to go down in a rain event. I like to watch water, how water plays in the rain.
So I guess my question is that an issue? Or are you thinking we need to remove the impervious material
I
and
think we should
change the flow?
I think we should let Jim Hall opine and come up with a plan. But I just wanted you to know, if you've never been there when it's raining, to see what's happening. And as I said, the major sand that's being eroded to sort of the fence side of that impervious area is all going down through the gate and down toward a wetland. Whether it gets there or not, I haven't gone down there to find out. I'm not an engineer. It might be, I mean, we certainly don't want all of it going out into the road, but it might be helpful to put a little swale at the base to capture some of that. I don't know. It would be a Jim Hall thing to come up with.
So Chris, is that something you can investigate as part
Well,
of
yeah,
the-
that was the plan. So I didn't want to go through this whole issue, but the idea was to talk to Jim Hall about the erosion in the parking lot, and authorize removal of the encroachment into the parking lot, because there's sort of a berm that builds up from the plowing.
Right.
But anyway, there's other hands raised too.
Well, I'm speaking as one of the Conservation Commission members. I think that's a great idea, and we should definitely consider removing the invasive plants. They're not invasive, the plants that have
Encroaching.
invaded the parking lot.
Encroaching.
And back to the fence, and I don't know how far back beyond the fence we should go to make it more stable over the years. I look to you guys to say, let's make a plan and we'll see about doing it.
So,
Yeah.
Navdeep?
so I love details. I'm a very detail-oriented person, but I want to make these meetings as efficient as possible. So I don't want this to become another land stewardship committee meeting. So what Chris, I loved this is the issue. Dan Hall is going to weigh in. The water's coming down. and there's another set of issues here, and we're gonna deal with it. It allows us to have the bird's eye view of what's happening, and if we are concerned or we don't like the direction in which you guys are moving, then we can voice that at that point. But like the granular detail of what's happening, that is discussed at Land Stewardship Committee meeting, because I'm looking at this agenda today, and like we're not at this level of detailed discussion, we're not going to get through this agenda in a timely fashion.
I agree. So I think that's good advice. Megan, you have a comment?
Yeah, that is exactly what I was gonna say. I think we're sliding down a slippery slope, getting into some detail and kind of duplicating a little bit of effort. But I was just gonna point out for something like the vegetation removal, that's like a maybe routine maintenance thing. In the charter, it says for land maintenance, LSC should submit for proposed significant changes to land maintenance practices. So, trimming vegetation that's overgrowing into the parking lot isn't a significant change to land maintenance practices. So that's something that wouldn't have to be taken to a commission meeting, approved by the commission, and talked about by the commission. That's something LSC can discuss and work through. Something like the parking lot where it requires a little bit more work. I think it's a good idea, Chris, that you work with Trails and DPW, and once you guys figure out kind of a plan and with any staff help or support that you need, then you can come back to the commission with a clear and concise recommendation, bird's eye view, like what Navneet was saying, and then we can approve for that. So I just wanted to add that.
Any other comments from commissioners or the public? Then, Chris, I think it's pretty clear that we're looking to you to summarize what you recommend and bring it to the next Conservation Commission, and hopefully we'll all agree and we can move forward.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And
No.
thanks for the discussion. Sorry
Yeah,
to
no.
take up so
Thanks,
much.
Chris.
Very useful. And thank you, Navneet, for making it clear how to approach it. It's past 7:10, it's 7:25, so we're moving on to item number 1, public meeting, request for a certificate of compliance to EP file 125-1095, which is 59 Morse Road, parcel 20-1-0. The applicant is the Town of Carlisle Municipal Facilities Committee. The project description is replacement of the existing failing septic system. So, Megan, you have a very good summary. You just want to repeat it here and then we can move on?
Sure. So yes, I reached out to the Municipal Facilities Committee about this one, and they confirmed that no work was conducted. So though I guess the approved work never took place, they did do a septic upgrade, but it was outside of the buffer zone. So what we approved, they never did. So the procedure for closing out that order of conditions is issuing an invalid certificate of compliance. So that would be my recommendation for tonight.
All right. Can I get a motion to issue an invalid certificate of compliance on DP file 125-1095?
So moved, but I've never done I never heard of doing that. But
You win. Right. I
Second.
get a second
Second.
was Navneet. Thank you. And we'll take a roll call vote. Navneet,
Aye.
Brian,
I
Melissa,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Sylvia,
Hi.
and the chair votes aye. The motion passes.
Sylvia, have you
Thank
ever
you.
had that happen before?
Yes.
I've
Yeah, yeah, I think there's actually been one fairly recently as well. It was a pretty complicated site. I'll go into it with you later.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Just
don't
a
have
while
time.
in. People change their minds.
No, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Item number 2, it's almost 7:30, 7:28. This is a public hearing notice of intent for DEP file 125-1214. This is location is 190 Lowell Street, parcel 21-17-D-1. The applicant is Lauren Marolda. The project description is addition to the existing single-family dwelling and the replacement of the existing deck. Proposed addition and deck are both within the outer edge of the 100-foot buffer zone from a bordering vegetated wetland. So it looks like all the work takes place in the 100-foot buffer zone. And within the area, that's already been disturbed, so consisting of stone pavers and crushed stone. I'm reading your stuff, Megan. Thank you. No trees are permitted for removal, and the closest point of disturbance is 75 feet from the WF, the flags number 7 and 8. So, Megan, you had some interesting pictures from that recommendation. Do you want to maybe put those up, or they're in the
Yeah, I was
agenda?
just gonna see, I don't know if there's anyone here on behalf of the applicant who wanted to do a summary. I'm happy to pull up a site plan or pictures, but I just wanted to check in to see if there's someone on behalf of the applicant first.
Yes, Dan Carr from Stamps Community.
Dan?
Thanks. All right. George did a pretty good job of explaining the project, but I will share my screen and take you guys through the plan. All right, so this is 190 Lowell Road, and I will just highlight in blue the wetland here and the associated 100-foot buffer zone here. Where there are existing conditions here, there's a concrete paver patio here, there's a concrete patio underneath an existing deck over here. There's another concrete paver patio here and some gravel around that as well. And the proposal is to replace the deck and expand it a little bit, and also some additions to the home. And so this right here is the addition, and then the deck is along like so. And like George mentioned, work is all in the outer 50 foot of the 100-foot buffer zone, an existing disturbed area, and there will be a siltation barrier down gradient of the proposed work, and that will also act as the limit of work. And I think that describes it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Any commissioners have questions? Megan, do you have an opinion on where we should go from here?
Well, yeah, I went out to the site and I checked the wetland delineation. It looked good. It was fairly straightforward. And as mentioned, the proposed work is a pretty good distance away from the wetland. And the area that is going to be worked on is already disturbed. So I don't have any issues with this project. Yeah, so I guess I just recommend issuing the order of conditions with the standard supplemental conditions that we use for every order.
Sounds good. Any other comments from commissioners? Anyone in the public like to raise their hand?
Okay.
Not seeing any. I get a motion to close the public hearing on DEP file 125-1214.
So moved.
So,
Brian,
second.
that sounds like Tony.
Yep.
I have to recognize your voice. Can we take a roll call vote, please? Navneet,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Sylvia,
Hi,
and the chair votes aye. The motion passes.
can we have
And
the
when you-
plan?
Pardon?
Can we have the plan down? Gone? Oh, thank you.
Oh. So, Megan recommended a motion to issue a standard order of conditions for DE file 125-1214. Any other comments on this from commissioners or public? Then can I get a motion to issue the order of conditions?
So moved.
Sylvia?
Second.
Second. Navneet, thank you very much. We'll take a call. Navneet,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Sylvia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion passes. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, we're catching up on our schedule.
This next item, I got a request from their wetland scientists to delay it, because they won't be here until around 8. Does that sound right, Ed? I think you're on this. Sorry.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
They shrunk your kitty.
So maybe we move to item 4 and just skip over this and come back to it after, George?
Okay. So was somebody notify us when the required participants are available?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Hi.
All right.
I think I'm on for item 4. Oh, did you just ask if the item 4 participants?
Well, we're going to move to item 4, and you are
Oh, okay.
Melinda Gambino. Can
Yes.
you identify yourself?
Hi, I'm Melinda Gambino from 387 East Riding.
Okay, so let me just start the process by discussing what this is. This is item 4, public meeting of violation. Location is 387 East Riding Drive. Property owner is Peter Gambino. Description is unpermitted cutting of 10 trees within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordered to BVW. So, Megan, you had a good summary here. There are issues with rare wildlife and no approvals for cutting down trees and so on. So, do you want to summarize the initial recommendation, and then we can see what the owner would like to present? But you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. I'll just do a quick summary. So you may recognize this address because there's an active filing on the property for construction of a single family home. All the site work has been completed, and the applicant, who was the developer, is just waiting for plantings to establish over 2 growing seasons before requesting the certificate of compliance. So new property owners have moved in and have admitted to cutting at least 10 trees. I think it actually might be more between 12 and 15. I have to hone that in. But these trees are within the buffer zone and outside of the permitted limit of work. So if you look at the aerial, you can actually see the limit of work, the sediment control barrier that was in place, that clearly marked the limit of work. And you can see the tree cutting beyond that. And the wetland is just above that outlined area. So this parcel is within the Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program Priority Habitat for Rare Wildlife. And so I guess one of the considerations for the commission tonight is that the tree cutting was done by the new property owners, not the developer who has a tie to the order of conditions. So tonight, hoping we can get clarity on if the commission wants to treat this violation as part of the order of conditions or separately. But either way, I would recommend issuing an enforcement order requiring a restoration plan to be submitted as soon as possible, hopefully sometime in September, so plantings could possibly go in this fall. And there will have to be some coordination with the Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program since there was work done in that area. They need to review it. And so I guess I will maybe let Melinda speak to the situation next.
I think that makes sense.
Thank you.
Melinda.
Hi. Thanks. Melinda Gambino from 387 East Riding. I appreciate the opportunity to give some background about the events that led up to the tree removal. Shortly after we moved in last year, we started to be concerned about the health of some of the tall pine trees closest to the house. There were a few trees that had fallen since we moved in, and it was becoming especially concerning after we had those intense windstorms that happened in the early fall. I'm not sure if you remember. But during one of those storms, a tree snapped off and several branches from other trees fell. So this is kind of when we decided that we wanted to have an arborist come out and evaluate the situation. The arborist identified several trees that were dead, failing, or structurally unsound. So we were considering what the next steps were. And then there was a wrench thrown in the plan when I mentioned that the builder was planning to have our driveway paved that Monday. And this was on a Friday that we had the arborist out. So we have a very long shared common driveway with the house next to us. And the arborist said that the equipment that would be used to remove the trees was very heavy, including a crane and several trucks. And these would not be able to go on a newly paved driveway for at least 12 months. So we were kind of stuck between a tree and a hard place, so to speak. So we reached out to the builder to ask if they would postpone the driveway paving so that we could, so that we could figure out what the next steps would be with the trees. And he said that he was not going to move or delay the paving because his occupancy permit was tied to that, and the house next door was being sold at the time, and so he wasn't in a position to change the date for the paving. It was happening on Monday. So I kind of made a decision at that point, because I felt it was an emergency and because of the hazard that the trees were posing to the house and to people potentially in the backyard. We made the decision to have the trees removed the next day, which was a Saturday, and then the paving happened on schedule on Monday. So that's kind of the background. And in hindsight, I realized it would have been better to contact the commission immediately afterward, because there may have been a better process to follow than having to show up like this, even if I didn't really understand what the process or the next steps would be. But the good news is that because of the way the trees were removed with the crane, there was a very limited physical disturbance of the land. We didn't do any stump grinding or any moving dirt around or any additional work. The goal was just to remove the hazardous trees. And the site has had substantial, natural growth of the native plants there. It's very green and growing very well. So now I want to work with the commission to see what kind of remediation and mitigation we would need to do for this. None of the work was done in the wetlands. We believe it was all outside the 50-foot buffer zone. So, we're just here to talk about what would be the appropriate next steps.
All right. Well, thank you for the summary. Welcome to Carlisle.
Well, thank you. We had lived in Carlisle before. Thank you.
A lot of regulations that you need to be able to come up to speed on quickly, especially in the situation where you really had to move expediently. So I understand that. So Megan, you had a recommendation to require an enforcement order that has a restoration plan to be submitted to CONSCOM sort of ASAP so that it could be implemented. So before we move on to discuss that directly, is there comments from commissioners about this particular application?
I have a couple of questions. Oh, sorry, Navneet, you want to go?
Go ahead, please go ahead, Brian.
One is first of all, aren't the homeowners given a copy of the order of conditions on the, pardon? George, I was asking you. Aren't property owners given a copy of the order of conditions so they should know what the limit of work is how far they're allowed to go? And my other question, I know this property had 3 houses developed. I think we should notify if the other people are also in the same area, or within the buffer zone and thinking of anything, or maybe every new house that's built, we should make it clear to them that they have to, follow the regulations.
Yep.
And then secondarily, I can't tell from the April 9th picture, was it totally clear cut? It's taken, unfortunately, at a time where nothing's growing versus the August pictures on the other side. But it looks to me from that aerial, Megan, was every tree taken out?
Yeah.
So it's clear cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a total violation. So, okay, those were my questions.
So Navneet, you had a comment?
Yeah, to the point of should this be on the developer's pending order of conditions, I don't think it should be. I think it should be on the property owners, a separate enforcement. And I do support an enforcement order. The next question is going to be after it is issued, the mitigation plan. So I don't think today is going to be a big debate about the mitigation plan because that's going to need to be outlined and submitted from the
Agreed.
homeowner.
Yep.
But as to the business today, I think it should be separate from the developers OOC, and I think the enforcement order should be submitted.
Sylvia, you had a comment?
Yes, first of all, I think this needs to be reported to Natural Heritage as soon as possible. They were extremely involved in this project and hired a reviewer to monitor this and to support documents to the developer and to the Conscom. If you look at the plan that Megan put in the file, there were supposed to be bounds placed at every corner of the erosion control barrier and 3 signs put up saying no work beyond this point or something along that order. So it should have been very clear. And I realize people get in these bounds or binds and they fear for their homes. But I certainly would have thought that a call to Conscom would have been, the first line of attack. And I believe the Gambinos have been in town for quite a while and have even filed on a previous property with the Conscom, right? Is that correct? Didn't you live on Stony Gate?
Yeah, we did live on Storygate.
I think you had a filing for a pool or some landscaping or something. So, but there was a lot of angst about the work for these homes that were in rare species habitat, and I think Natural Heritage needs to find out about this fairly soon.
So Sylvia, are you saying that the contractor then, or the developer's also at fault because he didn't post it properly? Those
I don't
permanent
know.
postings?
I haven't been on the property, so I don't know if
You-
the posts that are required on the plan of land are there. I just
But
don't know.
I don't think that I don't think that that's that is necessary to be in place until they are closing out their OC. So they have time to do all of that. So I don't think that
Everything's a
I don't think that that's an issue. I don't think that I'm not finding any fault with the developer on this. Like, yes, it would have been the bounds would have been good. It might have been more clear, but I do not see that I think,
Is their
Yeah.
responsibility,
yeah, it's the homeowner's responsibility.
right?
I read down through the order of conditions and it said something about they should put in place before and certified by survey before the erosion control is put in. So,
We can speak to all of these
Yeah.
issues being brought up as the developers,
yeah, okay.
whenever you got, just so you know, I just don't know how to mark up to speak. So,
Can you identify yourself, please?
I'm Jill Defoe.
Okay.
My husband Stephen and I are the developers. So the gentleman before asked about the order of conditions being provided to homeowners. The order of conditions are actually signed off on by homeowners at purchase, and they are definitely provided copies of the order of conditions for all the houses there, not just this house, but all houses involved in this. We also, in terms of the site, we leave the silt fence up and all the erosion control up. Everything is marked, and it is, so from our building perspective, it's preserved very clear where we can do work and where we can't, and it's marked according to plan as well. So all of the questions about our building practices are in place, and so I just wanted to say that.
So were you involved in the clearing of that area?
Us? No, we
No, okay.
had nothing to do with it.
No.
And Vinos have already let
Okay.
Megan know that we have nothing to
Yeah,
clearing this land in one day. We had nothing to do with it.
Can I speak?
yeah, this work happened in October. So we purchased the house in June, and it was well after the purchase. And so it happened very quickly because, like I said, about the situation that we had with the paving, and we learned about the hazard, and we felt that we needed to move forward immediately because it was a dangerous situation. So the builders weren't involved at all in that process.
So George, I want to ask again, shouldn't it, and I'm not blaming the developer, but isn't it a requirement then before they transfer the property that they would put in stone bounds or signs or whatever they had to do? Because after that, the builder doesn't own the property anymore once it's transferred. I'm just talking generically, not necessarily just on this property.
No, I understand.
Unmuted. So Stephen wants to speak to.
Hi, I am the developer. So every 100 feet, there was a sign of, there's signage for no disturbance, and every corner of the property has a concrete boundary on it. This was stipulations that even before I got any building permits, Sylvia walked the property with me to approve it. So this was gone through 100%. All the signage was up every 100 feet. There was no issues with anything not being marked. So,
Okay.
Megan, when you went out there, were those signs still there or are they ripped up?
I don't recall. I was just looking at the trees. I know the property next to that, I remember seeing signage when I went out there. Not that that's relevant, but I didn't notice any, but I wasn't looking for it. I was more trying to figure out how many trees were cut. It wasn't on my radar at the time.
So there were signs there. I'm sorry. There were signs there. After we moved in, we didn't think that we needed to keep those signs anymore. We were the new owners, so we removed the signs.
So
They're permanent?
They're permanent. They're permanent. This is a very sensitive parcel of land where the National Heritage. I'm trying to just like calm my nerves down right now. So yes, they are permanent, and I think that is probably clear in the OOC that was provided to you at the time of purchase. And I do remember that this was discussed, and I would have to look back at minutes, do remember that Sylvia did see the property, that these items were there. But Sylvia can speak to that better than I can.
Yeah, well, I don't remember. They're supposed to be there. I'm sure they were there. That said, as far as going forward, as far as restoration is concerned, first of all, as I said, I think Natural Heritage needs to know about this, and any restoration plan, and I'm pretty sure this will probably slow things down, but it should be developed so that Natural Heritage has approved or can sign off on it as well as the commission. Because personally, I think there should be some replacement of pretty good sized trees. But the issue is, what kind of damage do you do in the process of putting in pretty good sized trees? So, and so that's why I think Natural Heritage needs to have a say on this, because it's.
Don't you agree that the current owners need to replace the markers that were removed?
Oh, sure.
And the signs, yes.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
They're on the
Yes,
record.
to Sylvia's point, I think it would be good to reach out to Natural Heritage, like subsequent to this meeting, as soon as possible, and get their opinion on what they would like to see out there, and proactively contact them, and then the restoration plan can be developed around their wants, needs, recommendations, instead of developing the restoration plan now and then reaching out to them. Yeah. So that could be the first step, is reaching out to Natural Heritage, getting their thoughts. I'll work on an enforcement order, and maybe in the enforcement order, I can make some of the requirements what Natural Heritage recommends.
All right, so I
It looks like
assume.
Tony has a question.
Oh,
Just a
Tony,
quick-
you have your hand up. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick question for my background knowledge. Again, I'm new to the commission, so I'm catching up with some other issues. But does anyone know what species of concern were involved at this site? Or
Blanding's turtle.
oh, okay. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Yeah,
All right,
so I'm
so
assuming there'll be a lot of time of the year restrictions around the restoration. I'm not an expert, but the fall might work out, but that's up to Natural Heritage.
So, and what's the existing condition now? It's clear cut. Do we have concerns about erosion below the area?
No, it's like pretty it's grown in quite a bit because I think it was cut in October. So from this growing season, it's there's little saplings or seedlings
stable.
and
Looks
yeah, lots of poison ivy stabilizing it. So yeah, it's stable.
Do we have any kind of caliper estimate on what was cut, looking at the stumps in the ground?
It might. They were all large pines. I'm sure that if you looked at how we categorize trees in our tree policy, small, medium, and large, according to caliber, I'm pretty confident that they're all large because you can see the stumps. They're all mature old pine trees. So it might say it in the arborist report that they sent. I'd have to look, but I'm confident that they were all in that large category.
And were they shown actually on the developer's plan? We might have a way to look? No.
No,
far
only
away?
the trees that were removed have the DBH. There might be like one tree that was marked, but not all of them.
Just curious.
So Megan, what's the process forward here? We need to someone has to alert National Heritage with the current state and request guidance. Is that something that the owner and his landscape architect or whatever that can start that process, or is that something that Conscom should initiate?
Yeah, so I would recommend that I reach out to Natural Heritage and provide them with a little bit of background on what had been permitted and what has now happened, that and separate what the developer did and the property owner did. Make it separate. But I'll reach out to Natural Heritage and get their thoughts on what they want. But in the meantime, while I wait for them to get back to me, I can issue an enforcement order, and one of the stipulations of the enforcement order can be to comply with Natural Heritage requirements, and also maybe some kind of deadline, perhaps, for approval of a restoration plan, just because I do think this is kind of an urgent thing. So if you wanted to set some kind of deadline for an enforcement order.
What do you think
a restoration plan. It can always be changed later, but I just think putting some kind of timeline in place would be good.
Since the homeowner is going to have to work with National Heritage and that can slow things down a little bit, what do you think is a reasonable deadline for a restoration plan? Megan.
Let me think. My hopeful timeline would be like late September, early October.
Okay.
It's like 2 months.
Okay.
We could do 2 months out. October.
Is National Heritage pretty responsive?
It's hard to say because usually when you file with Natural Heritage, I think usually like a month or a couple weeks is when they get back to you. So this isn't a filing, it's a violation. So I don't know if they'll be quicker because it wasn't permitted or slower
Right.
because it's not a filing.
My
But I would
experience is
say
they
2
work
months.
really fast. If it's a violation, they work really fast
Okay.
as an enforcement order.
I have no idea what
I'm-
the fees are either.
Yeah, so that's right. There will be there should be a fee that I think should be covered by the property owner. So maybe I can facilitate that process.
They hired, I think it was Oxbow, to do the groundwork, I mean, of monitoring and making sure everything was according to what Natural Heritage wanted.
Yeah, we did use Oxbow.
Yeah.
And the woman that worked on the project with us is very responsive. She was great during the whole time we worked with her.
My assumption would be that the reporting of the violation would obviously be free. And then their recommendations on maybe a restoration plan. I'm sure whatever restoration plan is developed would then have to be approved by Natural Heritage, and their review of that would be where the fee comes in. Because it would have to be filed and approved with them.
So Megan, what do we need for a motion right now to start this process?
I would say motion to authorize me to report this violation to Natural Heritage and also to issue an enforcement order requiring a restoration plan in compliance with Natural Heritage's requirements. And then if you want to send a tentative date 2 months out, maybe, for that restoration plan to be due.
I think that makes sense, and we can adjust it later on.
I do have a question about the process of separating us out with our order of conditions from the homeowners and what they've done. Is that just agreed upon or is that a process? I just don't know.
I'll vote it in my motion. So I move to mimic what Megan just said, that that we issue an enforcement order on, I don't have the property address in front of me.
387 East Riding Drive.
East Riding Drive, for cutting down of trees, clear cutting an area, and removing the markers and signs. I further request that we put a requirement to submit a restoration plan that has been approved by National Heritage by 2 months from now. And I also move to allow Megan to start the process of communicating the details of this violation to National Heritage. And that I just put a little asterisk here that the restoration plan should also include a plan to replace the signage.
And markers.
Markers,
Good point. Yeah. All right, have been recorded. Can I get a
Sorry, and
motion?
sorry, one last thing, and that this enforcement order does not interfere with the developer's current open order of conditions. The OOC.
Second.
Okay, so Navneet and then Sylvia. Good summary, Navneet. So we'll take a roll call vote for this complex recommendation. Navneet,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Sylvia,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
the chair votes aye, the motion passes. All right, thank you very much. So it is now 3 minutes after 8. Do we have representatives from the item number 3, which was a 253 Knoll Farm Road parcel 1-61-20K?
I don't think so yet.
Not yet. All right. So we'll move on down the agenda. So item 5, public meeting, tree removal application. The location is 120 Wolf Rock Road. The owner is Diane Staheli. The description, removal of 8 trees within a 100-foot buffer zone.
I'm sorry,
to
George, you can't do that
BVW.
until 8:10.
Yeah, you're right. I'm early.
So
Too
we'd
early.
have to go to other business.
It's
Yeah.
okay if we're a little ahead of schedule, I think. It's not a public hearing.
Oh, it's
just
not,
a
I'm
public
sorry.
meeting. So
Okay.
I think it's fine.
All right. Well, I mean, do we have a representative from the owner who would like to address the committee? I don't think I've seen anyone. So the application was for removal of 8 trees, and we have a map with each tree with the digit associated with it. Megan, do you want to summarize what you wrote here, or I can?
Yes, I was just gonna pull up the
Red
map.
lines. Mm.
Okay, so yes. So the application is for the removal of 8 trees. Of these trees, 5 are completely dead and 3 are damaged and described as hazards due to proximity to utility lines and the house. 2 trees are proposed in a landscaped area and are proposed to be stump grinded. And the existing driveway would be used to access the trees for removal. So, the tree removal policy allows for removal of up to 5 trees. So in this case, there's 5 that are dead and then 3 that are damaged. So it seems like the removal of 5 dead trees, something that the property owner should be able to do. But for the 3 damaged trees, it's up to the commission if you want to allow this through the tree removal policy, even though it really only permits up to 5, or if you believe a RDA should be filed for all 8 trees. And you can tell by the site plan that there was a previous filing on this property for the garage. And there were some trees in that area that had to be removed to put that garage in. And I believe there were mitigation plantings that were required for that the property owner installed. And Noel just reached out to the property owner to have them go through the process of closing out that order. So just so you know, that's in the works. But this is separate. It shouldn't impact that. But yeah, if you have any other questions about the trees, let me know. Like I said, 5 were very obviously dead, and 3 of them were more leaning close to a utility line or had a little bit of rot, but still leafed out. So that was the
Sorry,
story
Megan,
with
which
those.
ones were alive?
Yeah, which 3?
numbers?
Let me get that. I can tell you one moment. Okay, so the ones that are damaged are 3, 4, and 8.
Okay.
And so 8 appears, obviously the way it's marked on the site plan isn't exact, but it's a good estimate. 8 did seem to be like it was in the wetland, and it
Right.
was leaning towards the driveway, towards the utility line. So understandable, but yeah, it's really a question of how you want to interpret the tree removal policy and what it allows.
Well, I presume number 8, you could probably reach from the driveway, right? And be able to
Yes.
remove it that way. So
Yes, yep.
disturbance should not be too much.
Yeah. And I will mention the property owner. I had a few questions about if they'd be willing to leave snags, and I got an email. I was out of the office yesterday, so I can't remember if I got the email yesterday or today. But the property owner said she would be willing, but that she would prefer not to because the last time she removed trees, she had to leave snags, and I don't think she loves the way it looks aesthetically. So I'll just point that out. And then I also asked if she would be willing to do any mitigation, and she believes that her property is wooded, like really wooded, so there's not really space for that considering the other mitigation plantings. Um, I think that's like typically what property owners say. Um, it is wooded. All the areas that she's cutting from are pretty wooded. It is true. But yeah, those are the details.
Did she have an arborist to determine the health? No,
No.
no. Okay.
I mean, like I said, the 5 that are dead are like very obviously dead, so you don't need an arborist, but the 3 that are damaged, an arborist did not look at.
Okay.
And other than the ones that are gonna hit the utilities, are any other ones gonna, or I guess maybe 4 could hit the driveway, but like 1 and 2, is there any risk there? For dead trees, because dead trees are habitat as well, you know?
Yeah, so 1 and 2, I mean, I think leaving them as snags is like I think that that would be a good compromise. 1 is really, really large and would have the capacity to hit the home if it fell. You can actually see it from the front of the yard. It kind of sprawls over the house, so definitely understandable to want that one removed. Um, the one that's damaged 4 is smaller. It's a very small tree. That one's leaning and damaged. Yeah, it's a 4 to 10 DVH pine, so it's smaller.
So looking at your recommendation, well, first of all, are there any of the comments from the commissioners? Anyone in the public like to make a comment? Letters? Friends of Santa Claus? No, okay. So looking at your recommendation here, you said that the permit the removal of the 5 dead trees that clearly propose a hazard. And I gather they're not interested in leaving snags, although we would certainly prefer that. And the question is, do we permit additional tree removal beyond the 5 maximum allowed? Or is that going to be a separate application to do those 3?
And George, can I ask another question?
Sure.
I just policy-wise, it bothers me that where we could approve a project that we haven't seen and the applicant hasn't presented. I mean, I know Megan's seen it and I'm confident in her, but you know, it feels kind of
think-
rubber stampy.
Our property owner, I think, just entered the meeting. So maybe we can.
Hello.
All right. Is this Diane?
Yes, this is Diane. Hello.
So could you identify yourself and we'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sure. So hello everyone, Diane Staley, property owner at 120 Wolf Rock Road. The proposal is to take down a number of trees on my property that either are dead or damaged in the recent storms that happened over the winter. They're sort of spread out amongst different areas of the property, and either they fall into the category of completely dead. Some of them are sort of half uprooted and leaning against other trees. And then there's one tree that has moisture and insect damage at the base of it. The property, for the most part, is naturalized. So the proposal is just to cut them down and let the natural wilderness take over. For the trees that are closer to the house and the landscaped areas, the ones towards the back of the house, there's existing shrubbery and previous small trees planted that would just be allowed to take over. The one tree that's close to the front of the house, that could be replaced by an existing, or would be replaced by a new, either small tree or shrub, just because of the location to the house. I'd want it to be a little bit smaller. And then the ones closer to the house, the stumps would be ground, and then the rest of them would just be trimmed down.
All right, thank you. So one of the issues, Diane, that we're dealing with is that there is you can have permission to remove up to 5 trees on your property, but going up to 8 typically requires a mitigation plan to satisfy the conservation issues in the town. And I guess I know there was some discussion of leaving one at least as a snag for wildlife, which I think would be appreciated. But I guess the question is, and Megan, let me know if this makes sense, is if we allow the additional removal of the 3 trees, can we request a mitigation plan to use small trees or brush or whatever to keep the nature of the land as is?
So 2 things I'd like to say about that.
Okay.
First of all, just because of the placement of the power lines on the property, which are right along the side of the driveway and then, sort of leading up to the house, it does require a crane come in. So it's considerably an expense. So I'd like to try to batch up removal, as best I can to make best financial use of the situation because it is very expensive. It doesn't make sense to only do 5 at a time. And then the second issue, certainly, along the side of the house and the front of the property, I've had a few tree removals and mitigations in the past. And what happens because the front of the property is so heavily wooded that anything that I plant for mitigation just gets overtaken by the natural forest anyway. And there's plenty of saplings on the property. Megan and Noel had been out a couple of weeks ago, and my preference would be to let what grows there and succeeds naturally take over instead of me trying to control that a bit. In the areas that are landscaped in the yard, I'm certainly willing to plant additional small trees and shrubbery as mitigations there. But my just ask there is that they be small so they don't endanger the house or the power lines or the septic system. Where trees 1, 2, and 3 is right along where the septic tank is, close to 3, and then the leach field is in the back of the property, kind of past 1 and 2, and the line to the leach field goes between 1 and 2. So I just don't want tree roots or anything too big there that could cause problems for me for that reason.
So to clarify, the 5 versus all at one, the filing issue, we have a tree removal policy that allows for more of an administrative, this kind of discussion, and we approve a plan. But when it's outside of the parameters of the tree removal policy that we have, then a filing has to be submitted. And based on what the discussion sounds like right now, where's mitigation done? Can mitigation be executed? What does a property look like? I think a filing sounds like a more appropriate approach so that then we have the opportunity also to take a look at the site to see for ourselves what it looks like and, do we agree with you that there's really no place to put things and that sort of thing. So my thought is that we because of the number of trees and because of this debate about can there be mitigation, we ask for a proper filing for this tree removal.
So Megan and Sylvia, you both have been out to my property before. Do you have sort of a formulated opinion about that?
I can go. About the policy and the 8 trees.
Well, more
Or
about
what part?
more about the state of the property and you've been able to, what's not captured in the property plan is the level of vegetation that's there, and sort of the level of naturalization in the property.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's definitely wooded all on the edges. I put pictures in the meeting packet for the commissioners to look at, which I can bring up if needed. But I think the tough thing is, yeah, just having the policy in place and having a strict number. But in terms of mitigation, like what I think I might have explained on site is just the reason for the mitigation is just because when you're cutting 8 trees at once, you're making a change to the property all at once. So when you have a mitigation plan, it ensures that that property will get back to kind of what it was. You're replacing it in kind, basically. It's like an insurance policy. It is often that property owners in Carlisle have the issue with their property already being forested since it is Carlisle. Most people's properties are pretty forested. So it's understandable, but it sounds like maybe if there was a filing like Nevneet had alluded to, then the commission would have more time to kind of analyze, okay, maybe trees won't work, but shrubs will, or some combination of smaller trees and shrubs or something like that. But to Nevneet's point, the current tree removal policy is kind of limiting and more administrative approval. So it kind of sounds like the commission isn't comfortable. At least that's what I'm hearing. But of course, correct me if I'm wrong.
And Megan, don't we require that they show the breast height diameter of the trees? There's nothing, I mean, they may
That
be
she
accurately
filled that out in
located.
the table. She filled out a table with the species and DBH, and if
Okay,
it's in
thanks.
a landscaped area or a natural area. So that's in the application.
And Diane, we may agree with you that there isn't much to do once the trees are removed, but it gives the commission an opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah, so certainly you're welcome to all come out and visit the property to take a look. And Sylvia, I know you and some of the commissioners had been out before.
Yes, you had a few filings on your property. Some tree removal, a septic system, the garage. I kind of agree with Navneet because I think it's kind of a slip when we got a policy, we gave it a lot of thought. There was a previous policy that was only 3 trees and it got expanded to 5. And one of them in this case is in a wetland. And I just think that we need to be very careful about making exceptions.
So do I hear that maybe we should have a site visit to examine the location of the trees and so on?
I think before that, it needs to be that there's a filing. That's my thought, and then
I would agree with that.
Which do you think, RDA? Or...
RDA.
Yeah.
And if Diane still wants to move forward and files the RDA, as soon as I get the RDA, I can let the commission know and organize a site visit before the meeting so that everything can be proactively done and we can be ready to make a decision at the meeting.
Efficiencies. I love efficiency. So yeah.
I think that makes sense.
So let me ask a question. For the trees that are closest to the house that are quite dead, some of the trees are in more of a hazardous situation than others. How long does the RDA process take? I'm more worried about the trees that are close to the house, close to the power lines. There are a couple that I'm less worried about, but just because of the, financial implications of having someone come out, I'd like to make sure that I'd like to be able to process all the trees all at once, but I also don't want to let things go too long. In the case where, especially with the dead tree so close to the house.
So Megan, do you have an assessment of what the duration is to file and get approval for an RDA?
Yes, I'm just gonna try to pull up the deadlines.
Okay.
Real quick.
Also,
I'm thinking it would be a meeting in September. I think most likely the 24th of September because there needs to be a legal ad posted. Sorry, let me just pull up these submittal deadlines.
She needs an arborist review as well.
So what is the arborist review for?
Condition of the trees, or I think that is not usually required, or is it?
For the damaged trees, the 5 that are deader,
Dead.
definitely clearly dead. Um, so yeah, if you submitted by the 10th, then we could get you on the September 10th meeting. So if you submit by August 10th, which is obviously just a few days away, then we can get you on the September 10th meeting. If not, then the next meeting would be September 24th.
So clearly, Diane, we'd like to move quickly. I understand. Hopefully, we don't have hurricanes on the way, but you just never know.
Yeah, so that's the thing that's making me nervous. Like, so what's, if these trees fall in the time, in between now and, potentially 6, 8 weeks from now, and when this is approved, what are my courses of action here? Um, you know, uh, so over last winter, just because of some of the condition of these trees, we've already had 2 power outages on the street, both between my neighbor's property and my property. Um, I don't want to let this stuff go too long because of this.
I mean, I think you had mentioned that it financially isn't probably worth it, but I guess for the dead trees, since they are obviously dead, there possibly could be some kind of agreement that maybe those are an emergency and could come down, and then the RDA could address after the fact permission of the dead ones and then permission going forward for the damaged ones. But then you'd have to have the tree company come through twice. So that's just the option I could think of, but I don't know if anyone has any other suggestions.
And what if we wanted a snag? If they're gone, they're gone. I mean, obviously she
Yeah.
wants them low enough that if when they fall over, they can't damage her house. But and of course, I haven't seen the property. There could be a whole bunch of other dead trees further out, and there's lots of available things for wildlife. But if those are the only dead trees on the property, it could have an impact.
Yeah, so there are certainly several other dead trees on the property. There's snags from previous mitigations that Sylvia had overseen. There are a couple of dead trees that are newly dead in the back that I'm choosing not to take down. There are a couple snags that have just been naturally occurring because of the trees dying. Also, in the storms last winter, there are several trees that are just like down on the ground. So if, the question is about, having habitat that's sort of closer to the ground. There's plenty of that. So I don't think there's any shortage of habitat
So,
on the property.
so the way I see it is because snags are one issue, but I don't think that that's the primary forefront right now at this moment. I think you have a decision between financially conservative and then waiting some time, or being expeditious about the dead trees. And then that could be its own, those dead trees could be on a tree removal request like these 8 were put on, and then that can be approved, because I think that we would all agree that dead trees that are dead and potentially dangerous to your property should come down. But then that wouldn't be financially expeditious because you'd have to bring them out twice. But that's a decision we don't make. That's a decision you would have to make. So, right.
Okay. So could I just do a submission this month to remove the 5 dead trees, a submission next month to remove the 4 additional trees, and then go from there? Like, what's the difference between doing this other process versus doing like 2 smaller tree removal plans?
So I think
Yeah.
one issue is the 2 that are damaged, right? Like getting that assessed, but also it's about what Sylvia said, the slippery slope. And we have a policy for a reason, because we were put in a situation quite often that where do we make the exception? And so if you think that there are 3 dead trees that are really dangerous for you right now, that can be submitted quickly. But I think knowing that the plan is to remove multiple, I think even if you came back and said, oh, here's an additional 3, we know what's up. We would want a filing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also just mention one other thing about the RDA process. Not saying there would be an issue from an abutter or anything, but it requires a butter notification and a legal ad. Because the scope is larger, 8 trees, it's more than 5. So as the scope expands, so do all those other checks, like a butter notification, legal ad. So it's just there has to be a line somewhere, and unfortunately, you're kind of on the cusp of that line.
Okay.
Can I point out that you're not necessarily going to be able to get someone to take down the trees exactly when you want as well. It could take a while. But in getting an arborist in, an arborist has a different way of looking at trees than maybe you do. And they might look around and say, you know, you really probably should do something about that tree and that tree. And you might not even have noticed it before. I'm not suggesting that you do a land clearing, but you know, you can get some more information so that you don't have to come back again. This is not the first time for you.
So actually, when I had the first estimate, the reason I have 9 is because the person that came out and looked at all the trees pointed out all the leaning ones to me, which I hadn't noticed. So, so many of the ones on the list, I was mostly worried about the dead ones, and the one with the ants and the fungus. But the tree professional, I mean, I'm sure his business is selling removing of trees, but he had pointed out the leaning ones to me, and that might be an issue. Does the town
Right. Any other
provide-
comments from commissioners?
Oh, sorry. Can I finish asking my question?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Does the town provide the arborist service?
No, it's part of the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay.
A lot of folks that do take down trees also have on their staff an arborist, but that sort of makes probably feel committed then. So you can look it up
Okay.
online.
Can I ask 2 questions, or I guess 1 question? It sounds like I have 2 courses of action. So 1, I can proceed with this RDA filing, which sounds like it will take more time and will be more of a complicated process. Or I could revise my initial request to meet the limit of the 5 trees and proceed with administrative approval. Are those my courses of action right now?
Well, one question, are the 5 trees that you would put in that group the dead ones, or are you going to try to go after something that's still potentially alive?
Well, the dead one that's closest to my house right now is the one that I'm the most worried about. It sheds branches every storm, kind of big ones. And the second one has already fallen down into my yard and kind of taken out branches of the first tree. So those are my main priority. Certainly the 2 in the driveway that are dead, which have taken out power lines in the past, would be my second priority. The ones that are leaning, I'm less concerned about, but again, I don't have any way of knowing, right, whether what storm is going to come along and blow them down, and that, you know, they're
Well, looking at the map that you provided, our understanding is that damaged trees are numbers 3, 4, and 8. Is that true?
So I don't have my map handy, actually. I'm on a different.
Okay.
Would you mind
No.
sharing the screen again so we can
So
talk?
George, I think we need to at least go out and see this. We're spending a lot of time on it, and I understand we're trying to find a way to do it under the policy, and Megan really enforces the policy, but there've been plenty of other cases where we go out as a group and we look and we discuss it. And we're just going off of a plan and we don't know the site. So I certainly agree with Navneet that maybe an RDA is appropriate, but even if we're going to do the policy, I think we need a site visit. We're just talking about something we don't know about.
I agree.
I agree with that too, Brian.
So can we stop all this and make a motion and if you want, so So Diane, that would mean that we could go out and look at it and perhaps you could get approval. It also means, so I'm sorry, Megan, you said she had to have something in place. If she needs to do an RDA, would have to be by what, the 9th of September? You're muted. You're muted.
She would have to have the RDA materials submitted by August 10th to get on the September 10th meeting.
All right, so
And then,
there's no time.
Oh, she can work on the paperwork herself.
No, there's no time to go do a site visit, discuss it, and
oh, but if she submitted an RDA next week by that deadline, then right after that, I would coordinate a site visit between August 10th and September 10th. So there would be time.
I'm saying there's no time to
That was
look at it under the tree policy and then tell her she needs an RDA. That delays everything. Is my
That's
Oh,
Yeah, so if I wanted to reduce the scope of my request, versus
still wanna go look
RDA,
at it.
I think I'd like for you to come and look at it and see the property. So I think that would really help you with making the decision about that. I think you'll see from the property that the trees to be taken down are pretty far apart and it's an extremely wooded area.
But we
my
can't
battle is getting
deliberate. We can't
keeping the
deliberate
forest
at
from
our
taking
meeting on
over.
site. When we go look
Yeah.
at it, then we'd have to come into another meeting, which wouldn't be till September, to tell you that you needed to do an RDA.
Well, in
So
August.
that was, pardon? Go ahead.
There's
Yeah.
a meeting in August, another one.
Oh, okay. But Megan said she needed to file by the
Yeah.
10th of August to make it for the September meeting if we do decide she needs an RDA.
We have to put it in the mosquito. That's why it has to be before.
Oh, I
the
understand. I'm
mosquito
just saying
requirements.
time-wise, I think we just need to do an RDA. We're spending a lot of time talking about this.
So I think the courses of action are up to the property owner. So if she would like to reduce the scope, she can submit a revised tree application form to us. And it can be discussed at our next August meeting. Or if she decides she wants to get all of the trees, then she can submit an RDA either in time for the September 10th meeting or the next September meeting. But I think that those seem to be the two options.
Yeah, and I would still like to have your assessment of the property factor into my decision. And I'd like to know what's involved in the RDA process more formally before I make that decision as well.
So I think that's a discussion you can have with Megan offline, and then specifically which trees you would like to put in for the tree removal under the tree removal policy. That's a decision. Again, you will have to debate and think through and then present.
Can you clarify, are there 8 or 9 trees? Because the diagram showed 8.
Yeah, and that could have been my mistake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my understanding 8 versus 9 doesn't materially make a difference.
Yeah, sure.
It's 5.
I just
more than 5. Yeah.
we discussed which ones were dead and which ones were.
Yeah.
So,
I think Megan
yeah.
and I had some discussion on site about the potential 9th one. I wasn't entirely sure about. It was the one that my tree guy had pointed out to me, but I wasn't sure if it was actually a problem or not. So I think we had some discussion about that. So, okay, so what are the deadlines and what needs to happen? I think I'm a little bit confused.
So
about next
I
steps.
can also send you the information after the meeting. But if you wanted to revise the tree removal policy and keep it 5 or under, then you would just have to submit it to us by August 21st. Sorry, yeah, August 21st would be your deadline for revising the tree removal application. And if you wanted to file an RDA, and get it on our September 10th meeting agenda, then you'd have to get those materials in by Monday, the 10th of August. If not, then you would be on the September 24th agenda if you can't make the August 10th. I can send you an email with these dates so you don't have to remember them all right now.
And then you all are going to do a site visit, but are you going to do that in time so that I know whether I should be applying for August 10th or the September?
So I think that's going to be a decision for you to make, because when they do a site visit, they can't discuss anything, so you won't know their feelings at the site visit. It will be strictly observational, and then they discuss at a public meeting. So the site visit is really just for observation. It won't really give you any inkling into what they might vote, but I can help guide you in what I think might happen given the standards and policies we have in place.
Okay. I feel like I'm not getting any information to help me make a decision, quite honestly.
I also don't know that this is the time where this is like, I think you need to think it through and talk through with Megan, any questions you may have. Yeah.
So
All right.
should we vote tonight to request an RDA, and then we could,
I think
if
that's
Megan decides she wants to do the tree policy, we could withdraw it, or no?
I
Just trying to
think
move
the
things
vote
along.
would just be not to approve the current tree removal application request.
Okay, I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Ryan, Navneet. So Diane, sorry, we're inconclusive, but there are some issues that we need to take care of. We'll take a roll call vote, please. Sylvia,
Aye.
Tony, Melissa.
Aye.
You've been awfully quiet tonight, Melissa. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Melissa?
yeah.
Okay. Brian,
Aye.
Navneet,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, the motion passes. Okay. All right. Going back again to see if we have anyone for, was it item number 3?
Yes, I did
Yes.
see. Yep.
So why don't we open the meeting for item number 3, public hearing, notice of intent. This is for DEP file 125-1212. The location is 253 Noble Farm Road, parcel 1-61-20K. The applicant is Ed Leones. Hope I pronounced that right. Project description is construction of an addition to an existing single-family construction of a retaining wall, driveway location, and mitigation planting within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW. This was continued from June 11th, June 25th, and lastly, July 16 from 2026. So Megan, do we have a revised plan in place?
Yes, and we have revised mitigation plans and some other documents, but I see that David Crossman is here on behalf of the applicant, so maybe David can take it over from here.
Go,
Good
David.
evening, Dave Crossman, BNC Associates, representing the applicant, and I apologize for delaying this for so long. My other hearings went a little overboard, but I appreciate your patience. We have submitted some revised mitigation plans, and there were some changes to the existing site plan, and we have had, I want to say, 2 site walks since the last meeting so that people could get a clearer idea of what is actually happening out there. And I guess at this point, if there's any questions, or if you want to know, the project is just the garage and an addition in the front of the house, and some mitigation along the side, the wetland side. And we are doing some drainage out to the rear of the property with some tree removal We do add, I think we added some, showed a little bit more where those trees are being cut down on the plans, but that's I don't know if the site walk cleared up anything for some of the commissioners that had questions about the proximity, because we are extremely close to the edge of wet. And that proximity hasn't really changed.
So I'll just chime in, and today I'm feeling like I'm negative Nelly today. So I went on one of the site walks, and I think it was really very eye-opening because a couple of things. One, the just the degree of incline, the steepness of the drop off over by where the proposed wall is, as well as the boulders the big, large stones that are embedded into the ground that would have to be removed in order to install that wall, which my concern is that there's going to be a lot of disruption. And no matter how good your siltation barrier is, just the drop off, the incline there is so steep that there's no way you would be able to adequately, with just decent rain, protect the land below, the resource land below. I think what's also was really eye-opening for me was I didn't realize that there's going to be an underground connection between the garage or the addition and am I right in saying that? And then the house, correct? That wasn't immediately apparent to me. And so that's a lot more disruption again because of that incline. It's going to be really hard to protect that area well. And then lastly, the trees that are disrupted, they are providing significant cover for that land. And by removal of those trees, I'm concerned about what will be left. We're significant, I don't know, I don't have the right words to say it, but we're significantly altering what that resource area, what coverage that resource area has, and therefore what effects that has on plant and wildlife. Those are my concerns after having seen the property. I don't know who else did.
I did. I went on the other site visit. And I share your concerns, Navneet. So maybe Dr. Crossman can give us his opinion. And Sylvia has her hand up.
Yes. Thank you. I have not participated in any of these hearings, although I have listened, but I haven't talked with any of you because of a conflict of interest in that my brother-in-law's home right across the street was on the market. And I felt uncomfortable participating in this project because of that. The house is sold, so I no longer have a conflict of interest. And so I did speak with the town clerk about that. And the town clerk felt that it was all right if I attended and participated. I don't believe that I will vote, but I have read the materials. I have listened in on all the comments, but I have not been to the property other than to drive by and make sure that wetland didn't look like it would be a vernal pool. It doesn't, it's too shallow. So that's what I wanted to say. And it's up to you whether you're comfortable with me participating or not.
So I also have a conflict of interest. My daughter's company is involved in the mitigation of this property, so I'll have to recuse myself from voting as well.
but I don't need to recuse myself at this point.
I'm comfortable with Sylvia providing input if everybody else is.
I would agree.
Me too.
How can she have a conflict if she doesn't have any? There's no way.
Right. I'm comfortable too.
Well, I haven't been to the property at all, and I don't know. Are you accepting comments from the commission at this point?
Yes, we are.
Okay. What's the snow storage project plan for this? You got a driveway that's going to get plowed, and they're going to plow it somewhere. And if you go to where the pullout is and dump it there, you've got a whole bunch of mitigation there that's going to get damaged. It really kind of depends on just how much snow we get, but sometimes we get a lot and sometimes we don't. So I was uncomfortable with how close things were to the wall when it'd be, I'm sure if you were plowing snow, that it would be nice to be able to just throw it over the wall. So that worries me. You know what, is there a snow plowing plan? A thought? It's tight in there.
Hi, I'm the owner, Edward Tonis.
Okay.
I don't use a plow service now, so I guess I wasn't thinking about a snow storage plan. I don't store the snow. I distribute it with a snow blower.
I guess the question is, do you blow the snow and the mitigation plants that you've got in the new design?
I blow the snow. I mean, where do you blow your snow blower? I mean, it's like we're adjacent to the thing, and if I'm not trying to damage my plant, so maybe if I get close to it, I'll direct it away from the plant, I guess.
I'm sure you shouldn't blow it up onto the septic system. Has the Board of Health passed on this project? Approved,
In
reviewed?
what way?
Well, you've got an existing septic system. And actually I was involved with that. And are they comfortable with, say, any addition of rooms with the design of the septic system?
There's going to be no flow increase for this project.
That's what they said?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, okay.
You need approval from the Board of Health, though.
You will need approval from them.
I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
And in general, we do not make determinations until the Board of Health has given approval.
I think there was an earlier meeting where this was addressed. I think one of the first meetings they addressed the septic concerns, but I don't remember the exact details. But I do think this was already discussed.
It was discussed in the context of an abutter's concern about this, and I brought it up, knowing that no additional bedrooms were going to be added per the proposal. However, if Sylvia's knowledge is that any addition increasing I don't know, I don't know, this addition would need to have the Board of Health's approval on how that changes things for the septic system, then that's something new to me. But yeah, it was in that context, Megan. It was.
Okay.
So the Board of Health signs off on every building permit, just like Conscom does. So
Yeah,
if there were
exactly.
if there were no issues, if there was no wetland anywhere near this, Megan would still sign off. So the Board of Health has to sign off, and they may not sign off until they see the plan. But you can't just get a building permit.
And they will want a room count. I kept hearing the word room count over and over again.
Well, and typically with the Board of Health, the size of the septic system is based solely on the number of bedrooms.
Mhm.
We're not proposing any new bedrooms for this addition. And in typical, the Board of Health when they review it, that's all they're looking for is, are we putting in another bedroom, in which case, will the septic system be adequate for the additional formula that they use for the number of bedrooms? This system is designed for the number of existing bedrooms, and we're not proposing to increase that bedroom count. So I don't see that the septic is an issue for this project.
I think that's
Um,
probably the Board of Health's bailiwick personally, but it's a quick visit. But
Yeah, getting their agreement that it's not an issue as far as Board of Health is concerned should be easy to get. And is there any reason why we can't just show them the plan and let them make a final decision?
We don't have to, it's up to the applicant.
No, I understand. But
Yeah, okay.
right.
Yeah, I think that can be done, but I don't know if it's worth discussing all of that in this meeting. I don't know if that's very productive. I think this has been on the agenda I think it's already been discussed at length a couple times, and then we had a site visit, so
I want to reiterate my concerns about
yeah.
these. It is a drop off essentially from the edge where the proposed wall is. And I'm going to repeat myself. The siltation barrier is not going to be able to hold, to protect that resource area well during construction. And then the removal of those boulders in order to install that wall is going to be a significant disruption that I don't think we fully understand because we do not know that fully the size of those boulders. They are embedded into the land. So I'm really concerned about the effect and potential negative impact due to due to, well, I don't know the technical word, the flow, the drainage, to that resource area. Megan, I don't know if you have any pictures that depicts what I'm talking about.
You're concerned with overland flow.
Land flow, there you go. That sounds like a good term.
I'm surprised the boulders aren't on the plan.
You don't see them unless you look over and you see them in the ground.
Yeah, so they don't list them as saying these will be removed or something.
Yeah, no, I noticed them when I looked over and they're quite large and you can't put the wall in without removing those.
Yeah, these boulders are all part of the existing fill.
I understand that. I understand that.
structure.
Yeah.
And I want to comment about, the overland flow, the way the boulders are right now is actually worse than the proposal because there's a steep gradient where water can run down into the wetlands and affect the edge, where with the proposal, the edge is retained with the wall and it's level, and then any of the water in that region would be caught by the roof above and redirected to a much shallower part of the lot. So I would argue that this is actually an improvement relative to the boulders.
Mhm. I think I think you may be right. But I have difficulty making that decision, which brings me to one of the original thoughts I had, which I did not voice at the first presentation, that maybe we need a peer reviewer to come and take a look and make that determination because you or I cannot be the final word on that. And I would like to have an expert who is not employed by you, to review this plan and give their thoughts. If that person says you're right, Mr. Theonis is right, that this is an improvement and this is a good thing, then so be it. Yeah. I will support that, but I'm not sure based on what I understand about what it looks like, the act of removing it is going to be a problem too. And just during construction, it's like going to be hard to protect that area, and the trees that are being removed, they provide a significant cover. It's you're within feet of the resource area. It's not even like, so it's I'm afraid of the effect it has on the resource area.
A peer reviewer can help also with better ideas about erosion control or processes that can be used to remove the rocks, whatever. So they can have some ideas. I like the idea of a peer reviewer.
Who actually implements the peer review function? Is that something the Conscom should do, or should it be the owner of the property?
So typically it would be Conscom, me reaching out to get quotes for peer review. And then under the bylaw, the peer review can be paid for through the applicant if they agree.
Just don't send the bid out to Dave Crossman this time.
Sorry, Dave.
So
Well,
if we say we agree to a peer review, can we just limit the peer review to the area of the wall and not have this whole project redesigned, so to speak? Or an attempt to redesign the whole project. We're just looking at whether or not there's going to be an impact from the wall on the resource area.
Makes me smile. How's the other side of your consulting? Yeah, I would agree with that, certainly. It should be limited in scope to Navneet's concerns, not the whole site.
I mean, I would think the peer review would analyze if the proposed work threatens the wetland in its capacity
Yeah.
to provide wildlife habitat, all of the I guess 7 interests because there's no shellfish there. But I would think that that would be what the peer reviewer would look at and how it complies with the Wetlands Protection Act.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe specifically that's what we're most interested in is that close proximity area. But I would think that
any impact.
But
Yeah.
I mean, typically when we have a peer reviewer, they're looking at the wetland line again, they're looking at the drainage,
Yeah.
looking at all that. There's I think we're in agreement with the wetland line and the drainage system as it is so far.
I would like somebody to look at the drainage. If they're going to look at the whole thing, that's kind of a funky drain, and I would certainly hope that, and by the way, while you're looking at it, what do you think about this?
Well, that's
I
fine.
think-
If we not just to have them look at the whole,
I get what
basically turn around and say, you got to redo the whole project, rather than this is how we can fix this problem, or you can't fix this problem.
Yeah, I think my question to the peer reviewer would be formulated as such. As the entire plan exists, not debating the, like redoing the wetland flags and everything, the impact on the resource area, and how can we fix this plan to limit that impact, or is there not a good solution for that as the plan stands right now?
Or the person could say it's fine, right? I mean,
Exactly. I'm happy to have that answer for the homeowner.
But I'd also like to see the impact of those trees that you're planning to take down around the driveway.
Yeah.
I understand the rationale, but there's going to be a big disturbance, and I don't know exactly how water's going to flow and so on.
Well, I think that would be part of Navit's
I agree with you. I'm
review,
just saying.
because the boulders and the trees are right at the very steep edge. So removing one or the other, if you want to get a second opinion as to the impact of what happens with one or the other, or in this case, both of those would be removed. So that's primarily what we want the peer reviewer to concentrate on if we should go that route.
And then come up
And
with
the impact to the resource area itself, all the interest, but the resource area.
Yep, I agree.
And he can come up, or she can come up with some special conditions too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us ideas and solutions to make this project viable as it's outlined now. Yeah.
And so for the peer review process, if I reach out and get quotes from a peer reviewer, do I have to get that authorized at the next meeting? Because the next meeting is August 27th, or am I authorized to go forward with that? As long as the applicant is in agreement that peer review price is sufficient.
In the interest of efficiency, I'm okay with authorizing if everybody else is.
Yep.
Well, the applicant also has to approve
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I have a question about the peer review process. So, like we're saying, oh, maybe the peer reviewer could suggest some better alternatives. Am I allowed to talk to the peer reviewer and be like, oh yeah, that alternative makes more sense to me versus another alternative? Or is it like I have to talk to the peer reviewer through the Conservation Commission, or how does that work?
Well, I'm trying to think. Typically, like I would give them all of the filing documents. So I'm trying to remember if a lot of that is explained already in the documents, that there isn't really any practical alternatives in terms of the site layout. But if we aren't asking the peer reviewer to look at alternatives in that way, I'm not sure if it's relevant, but I think if the peer reviewer has questions, then you're allowed to answer those questions and communicate together, definitely via email. I think even on a I think even on a site walk as well, that would be fine. Because the peer reviewer needs all of the information, right? So I don't see that as a problem.
I would think the peer reviewer would have similar questions to the commissioners who were out there themselves.
Mhm.
And they could ask, the applicant when he's at home, he could share the site plans, especially the plans that he showed you on the site about the actual workings of the project. Would answer some of his questions. Because basically he's going to be looking at the same thing that you guys saw the very first meeting. And you have had additional stuff that I don't think we presented everything that we've seen at the site walks to the meeting for interior design of, the underground connections and all that other stuff. But if he can ask questions of the homeowner while he's there and get a better understanding, and vice versa, they can talk to each other. I don't think that's an issue to have them discussing and getting an idea of what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, I agree.
And he could be a she.
Exactly.
Brian, come on.
One peer reviewer I have experience with in the past has reached out to project engineers and consultants to go over details of a plan, and especially when things are a little tricky.
Okay.
All right.
I had another question. So see, Navneet was also concerned about during the construction, is this method sufficient? Um, you know, I guess that's another thing. I guess, are we just kind of lumping everything into the peer reviewer now? Like, oh, they'll determine or they'll determine that question, or what do I need to do now? I guess is kind of, it seems like it's kind of coming out of my hands a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that there's really no action required of you now other than us working together to get the peer reviewer in place. And then once the peer reviewer reviews all the documents, does the site visit, they'll submit a letter. And again, you can communicate during that time if you have questions or if they have questions. But that's kind of that. So yeah, I don't think there's really any other action needed from you until the peer reviewer submits comments or questions that they have.
Or quote first.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I don't want, this is already very time, costly. So I'm worried about this bounding the peer review a little bit in terms of cost. The other thing is that, with regard to the roof drains and the funkiness of it, you know, we're also kind of considering on that far side of the garage, you know, some other method of maybe like a water reuse thing where we don't maybe have to put all that water down towards the back. We could collect that and use it for like lawn watering or something like that. So this is the kind of stuff that's like, once the peer reviewer, like, how do I tell them, you know, some of these other concepts I've had, like, kind of issues?
So he's going to come out, he's going to see the place, he's going to have the plans, he's going to probably talk to, he may even talk to Dave Crossman, and he'll put together his thoughts in a formal report. He will present it to our commission at a meeting. We will review those points, debate them, discuss them, and then come to a conclusion. So
Yeah.
you will think that's how I've always seen it done, that the peer reviewer isn't like this, you know, Supreme Court independent body that you can't
Yeah.
talk to, right? Like
We can still talk after the peer reviewer does his
Oh
report
yeah,
about
it's
other
not,
things.
it's not what the peer reviewer is like, now, that's it, it's done. That's
Yeah,
what
okay.
that we review their report and their recommendations, and then we come up with a path forward.
And you can be
Okay.
there at the same time.
Exactly.
What, be where?
You can be on site with the peer reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and at the meeting. It's supposed to be a collaborative information sharing process.
Okay. So, you know, we did a lot of documents. It's been a while back now, but is there any other kind of things we want to cover or talk about, or?
I don't think so, yeah. No, I think I appreciate the documents that you submitted since the last meeting. I think you really took the commission's comments to heart, and I read through the several documents that you sent. I thought they were thoughtful. So I think what David put together is good, and the peer reviewer can look at them and let us know what their thoughts are. But I don't think there's anything else needed.
Well, there was the other topic was about, you know, oh, what are other towns doing in terms of exceptions of previously built houses and previously disturbed land? I don't want to get through like the peer review and then come back to, oh, but wait a minute, you know, something like that.
That's where the peer reviewer helps us too. So they look at the proximity and they give their opinion. They give their expert opinion.
Okay, so it's more of like a scientific analysis than just like a
Exactly.
number analysis.
No, and yeah, so they give their opinion and we review their opinion and their thoughts, and they come up with some suggestions and or points of concern, and then we discuss that. It's like an independent analysis and evaluation. And they have that kind of information in terms of like what other towns do and stuff. And so they have that knowledge base, and they look at the regulations for Carlisle, et cetera, and they
Okay.
put it together.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm willing to do a peer review. I think that, you know, the plan is good. I guess I'll meet offline with Megan about the quote and those kind of logistics.
So I think the motion for the commission right now is to authorize Megan to solicit quotes from peer reviewers. And I don't know, Megan, do you want to present the results, or is this something that you can make a final decision on and communicate it to the owner and the commission?
Yeah, so I'll probably just, if the commission authorizes me to do so, I'll just work offline with the property owner. So I'll probably get quotes from at least 2 different peer reviewers, and then I can have the property owner select which one they prefer, assuming it'll probably be the lower priced one, but you never know. So then there's at least an option. And then once they authorize that, then we get the funds, and then sign the contract with the peer reviewer, and then they do their analysis. And then that will be presented at a CONSCOM meeting in the future, depending on when that gets done.
So George, Sylvia probably knows better than me, but I think we have to vote to have a peer reviewer first before we can just send Megan off.
No, I think we vote to empower, to direct Megan to work with
Megan,
the
yeah.
homeowner to solicit peer review bids and work with the homeowner on what
So
they.
I'm saying something a little different. I think
Oh,
we
sorry.
have to make a motion to decide we want a peer reviewer.
And then the process and how to go about.
Here, tell me if this
Is
is
standard.
Tell
All
me if this is kosher. I move to request a peer reviewer for this property. I have to pull up the address, sorry. 253 Knoll Farm Road. Oh, no, sorry, wrong. No,
Yeah, that's right.
253 Knoll Farm Road,
125,
right?
1212.
Yes, thank you. DEP file 1251212. And Megan to work with the homeowner on securing bids and finalizing on one peer reviewer.
So second,
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
First of all, when you're doing something like that, you don't need to choose the lowest bid. Second of all, I would recommend that when she does get bids, that she discuss it at least with the chair of the commission.
I'd be happy to help out. Can I get a second to the motion?
I made one, but I'll make it again.
You can do it again if you want, but I got it. No second?
No, Navneed made the
Brian
motion, I made
seconded.
the second.
Okay. We'll take a roll call vote. My favorite topic. Sylvia. Sylvia?
Why don't you move on? Because I haven't gone to all of these. I've just been saying my piece, but
All right, see if we get a quorum. Okay. Tony?
I'm recused.
Oh, that's recused. Okay. Melissa?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Navneet?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so the motion passes with 2 abstentions, I guess. Well, Ed, thanks for your time, and hopefully we can work efficiently with you to get the right answers here.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the commission again for waiting for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we won't hold it against you next time. All right. Moving on, I think we are down to new and pending business. And it's well past 8:25. Item number 6, discuss Greeno Beaver Dam. By the way, I'm impressed, Megan, with the amount of material that you were able to cobble together, because it was pretty comprehensive and was actually a good read too.
you're talking about.
Oh my
So-
gosh, thank you.
So
Okay,
do-
do you want me to do my little summary?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, let me just see.
Greeno or dog?
Greeno.
Okay.
Yes, so the commission previously discussed some water level issues possibly caused by a beaver dam at Greeno Pond. So I've been coordinating with Jonathan DeCock and Chris Spinney to come up with recommendations for the commission. So we recommend that the commission basically authorize purchase of 3 water level gauges. One would replace the current one at the Maple Street culvert that Sylvia originally put in that has seen a little bit of damage, possibly from a beaver, ironically.
Oh.
Another one would be at the Beaver Dam and another at Greeno Pond. And so having these 3 gauges in place would help us identify when the beaver dam begins to overtop, also help us determine when the beavers raise the dam in response, and provide data to predict when nearby properties begin to flood, which is obviously very essential. And so Jonathan and Chris kind of came up with the estimate of about 250 per water gauge. And kind of in parallel, I've also requested a site assessment from Beaver Solutions, and I'm actually going to reach out to another beaver company that I just found and ask them for an assessment as well. They're typically the one with Beaver Solutions should be free. I don't know about the other company, but that's what I'm hoping for. But based on what they recommend, I've kind of laid out a process for each of those options. And so let's see what else I have in here. So yeah, in summary, right now we would just recommend authorizing water gauge purchase, coordinating with Beaver experts to get a site assessment, and then continuing to monitor water levels. And of course, if there was an emergency and the water level got high, we have a procedure laid out to address that. And I'll also mention that during the last storm, I think it was last week, the water levels raised quite a bit, but they actually ended up partially breaching the Beaver Dam, which was kind of cool because we didn't have to. But it is already fixed. So, but I just thought I'd mention that. And I just want to give a specific thank you to Jonathan and Chris because they've been at Greeno consistently every day looking at the water levels in the Beaver Dam. Jonathan's on vacation and he's still on this call. So I really appreciate all their efforts and also appreciate the adjacent homeowners for being patient while we try to figure out what our plan is going to be. So yeah, just thankful for all of the collaboration and patience of everyone.
Quick question, the cost of these water gauges, $250, does that include installation?
I believe so.
It would be
Okay.
installation by volunteers.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were going to say that, Chris.
What do they look like?
They're the ones that Megan found. Sorry, Jonathan DeCock, 130 Oak Knoll Road. No authority
Thank you,
whatsoever.
Jonathan.
Just interesting guy here. So the ones that Megan found are from a company called Forestry Supplies, and that's one of the many companies I've looked at. But they look exactly the same as the ones that are installed along the Concord River, along the various bridges. They're called United States Geological Survey Class A level gauge. And they are measured in feet, tenths of feet, and hundredths of feet. And so you can get a very accurate measurement off of them, but they're also reasonable to read from a fair distance.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
So how do you actually read it? Is there RF connection, or do you
Oh, no,
actually
it's-
have to look at the number on the side of this thing?
Yes, there's actually a training done by ORS, the Organization for the Assabet, Sudbury, and Concord Rivers, on how to read a gauge like this.
Okay.
So you can, and it gets a little bit complicated because you have to determine the meniscus of the water as it touches the gauge.
I understand.
If you want to get down to the nearest hundredth of an inch or hundredth of a foot.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, which is
Okay.
basically an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
So I doubt we're going to be measuring within an eighth of an inch to worry about flooding, but yes. So in my opinion, these are necessary to enable communication between us interested parties and Megan and the Conservation Commission and the abutters. Because right now we're communicating based on things like saying, oh, it's above this piece of wood or it's above this rock. And then you're wondering, which rock are you talking about? And so by having a number, which, Sylvia enabled at Maple Street, has been an extreme help in being able to communicate effectively with the abutters.
It was a lot cheaper.
Yes, free is much better. But I don't believe the DPW has a bunch of spare parts that they can use to give us for this. So.
All right. So I think we need a motion to authorize Megan to research and request. Can you select the right manufacturer? Sounds like Jonathan has got one already selected. You're muted, Megan.
Sorry. I would just continue to work with Jonathan and Chris because they're really the brains behind getting these things installed and making sure that they're all coordinated and at the same level. But I would just continue to work with them to make sure I'm purchasing the right thing. And yeah.
Yeah, and we'll pick the most, the most effective ones for the price. So we'll do our best to keep the price as low as possible.
Well, we're already getting 3 at $250. I guess we can handle that.
No, that's $250 each.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And we want 3, so $750. Yeah.
Right. And I should point out that it's important that we have 3 because right now the pond is at 3 different levels. Or it was yesterday or the day before, before the DPW cleared it. So each of the beaver dams makes a different level.
How big was the difference? I'm curious.
The largest one that Megan, Chris, and I measured was 31.5 inches between the water level above and below the dam.
Okay.
So it's rather substantial.
Yeah, that's significant. Okay. All right. So can I get a motion for Megan to work with Jonathan and Chris to research and purchase water gauges, 3 of them?
So
moved.
And
Second. Third.
can I
Go
just mention for the record that that would be coming out of the LSC repair and maintenance fund that we use for all of our maintenance of conservation land, just because it wasn't mentioned before.
Sure. So Brian and got, and I think it was Melissa who seconded.
Or Sylvia, I couldn't really tell. It was a
It
photo
was a
finish.
tie. Yeah, I know,
I
but
think Melissa and I tied for so moved.
okay.
You can put down Sylvia.
I always do. So let's take a
That
vote.
doesn't sound
Sylvia,
right.
please.
Doesn't sound
I know it
right.
didn't.
Don't put down Sylvia.
It came out wrong. What can I say? Oh dear. I've been recorded too. We'll take a roll call vote. Sylvia,
Hi.
Tony,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Navneet,
Hi.
and the chair votes aye. The motion passes. Thank you. All right, let's talk Cranberry Bog. So the first issue, I guess, Chelmsford wants to have a discussion, and Megan, you offered up 3 dates for the evenings of August 18th, 19th, or the 20th, starting at 7 p.m.
Yes. I've been in coordination. I feel like it's going to be quite the feat to figure out when all of our schedules align, but I'm going to stay persistent and try to do this and not let it die. But Chelmsford did mention or asked, I know originally we talked about wanting it in person, but they asked if we'd be open to doing it remotely. Just because I don't know, maybe it's harder to get people in person. But yeah, I'm offering Tuesday the 18th, Wednesday the 19th, or Thursday the 20th at 7 p.m. just because I feel like that's the time we usually meet. If none of those dates work, if someone has a different suggestion, that's fine, and I can offer that to them.
Well, do you want to poll the commissioners? For example, or we can do it now. All 3 of those days at 7 p.m. work for me. And I don't know if people have enough information with their calendars to be able to react quickly, but
Yeah, if there's a preference for a day of the week, if people usually are freer on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday, that would be helpful to know. Otherwise, I will just send them these 3 dates and they can choose.
When's the next land stewardship meeting?
Oh,
That's
the
18th.
What?
the 18th, I think.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I've got something on the 17th, so 20th for me. 20 is my own date.
So you prefer the 20th of August.
Yeah.
But she didn't offer the 17th. She was offering 18, 19, or 20.
Yeah, 17, 18, 19, or 20. 18, well, okay. Well,
You said you were busy on the 18th. How about the
Yeah.
19th?
I'm not, I'm probably fine on the 19th. I just don't know for sure.
I'm busy on the 18th. Sorry. I have a memorial.
I'm
Okay,
fine
so
any of those.
Okay. So just not the 18th so far.
Yep, that works for me.
All right, I can reach out to them and give them those 2 dates and fingers crossed that we can all get together and meet and chat and talk about the cranberry bog and all of its wonderfulness. I actually meant that. I really did. It sounded like I was being sarcastic, but I really meant it.
Did you?
I did. It's a beautiful place.
This is
It
Zoom.
has its problems, but what was that?
This is Zoom.
I'm gonna confirm. They asked me if it could be remote because I originally said, "Oh, let's try to do in person." So it's looking like it'll be remote. But I don't know yet.
Zoom, yes. Jonathan, you have a point?
Yes, I know this is probably just about the water levels, but I know that there is likely to be water chestnut in there, and I was wondering if we could add a discussion of coordinating removal of water chestnut into that as a future thing that we might begin discussions with them about.
Water chestnut in the cranberry bog ponds?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good to know because they've been telling me that they have a big invasive removal effort right now at Hart Pond. I didn't ask what invasive it was. I just kind of assumed that it was an aquatic invasive. It was probably water chestnut. So it actually sounds like they might already be starting those efforts. So it would be great, yeah, to coordinate and get that whole area.
It would be good to find out if they're using any
Herbicides.
I think they are.
Yeah, because they have in the past.
I think they are.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple efforts. I think they had said that they're doing hand removal volunteer efforts, and then they're also doing a like aquatic herbicide.
Yeah, I used to get
Probably for
notifications
different
they were going to do
species.
that. So
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to think of putting together an agenda for this joint meeting. Is something we
Yeah,
need
I
to
can-
work with their
Yeah, I can
administrator?
work on it. Yeah, I can work on it offline. I've had suggestions from various people about this joint meeting and what we should be coordinating about. So I can just compile all that. And of course, if any of you have anything you want on that agenda, just email me, let me know, and I can add it. But I think I have like a pretty good running list right now.
Sounds good.
And
So
yeah, I don't
can I
think
get-
I don't know if you need a motion for that item. I think we can just move on. I'll reach out to them about the 19th and 20th of August and see if they're around.
I think that's a good idea. Be interesting because it's still summertime. People are going to be on vacation, so
Mm-hmm.
there's always that issue. All right, it's well past 9:15 by about 15 minutes. Item 8, discuss
Oh.
mowing at conservation lands.
You skipped the second cranberry bog item. Sorry.
Oh, I thought that was all part of the same thing. All right, discuss
No.
the opportunity for site visit with Mass Division Ecological Restoration staff to gather information about potential dam removal and cranberry bog restoration. That was the material that I thought was fascinating. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Megan.
No worries. Yes, so at the commission's request, I've been collecting info on all available options for the cranberry bog, and all the associated processes. So I've been in touch with the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration, which is DER, and I learned that they offer dam removal preliminary design services, which are intended to help landowners and partners assess opportunities and constraints during early planning phases of potential dam removal projects. And so, just to give you an idea, typically these components of the service include a site visit by a qualified engineering consulting firm, topographic and bathymetric survey, sediment quality testing for potential contaminants, assessment of sediment quantities in the impoundment, H&H modeling, preliminary design development, and a technical report summarizing the results of the study, including an estimate of cost for necessary future design and permitting, as well as for removal. And so I think this is a great opportunity because the big advantage to this service is that there's absolutely no commitment to dam removal by the dam owner, which is us. and it's intended to offer dam owners an opportunity to explore feasibility without any commitment. So if we received this service and they gave us this report and all this data, then there's no obligation to move forward with the dam removal project. You just have that data for information. So while I was inquiring about all these different processes, there was actually a lot of interest from staff at DER about the bog. I think probably because the cranberry bog is a rare area in this part of the state. So they said that they would be willing to schedule a site visit to answer any questions that the commission had about this process, as well as any other processes, because in DER there's several different programs. So there's like the dam removal program that offers this service. And then there's also a different branch that just specializes in cranberry bog restoration projects. So there would be someone from DER from both of those programs. So the commission could just, ask any questions they have and gather information. So I've scheduled this tentatively, of course, waiting for your approval, for Friday, August 14th at 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And yeah, I think it sounds like a great opportunity just to gather information. Again, like no commitment to dam removal. But initially, when I was asked to go through the processes and make a, decision tree, I thought I was going to have to find out all that information myself about what the cost would be and all of that. But this service would do all of that for me. So I think it's a great opportunity, but I'm curious to know what commissioners think about it.
Can we reschedule?
I can try.
I am going away 4 days this summer, only 4 days, and that's in the
Okay.
middle.
All right.
I'm going to be in Vermont, and I cannot get out of it. I have to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see. The thing is, there's 5 people from DER that the state worked for, so it might be difficult, but I can try.
Can't hurt to ask.
But in terms of the idea of the site
That's
visit,
next
is that something that people are supportive of?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I
Okay.
agree. Yes.
I like
think
the
so.
idea of the cranberry bog restoration itself as a separate thing from dam removal. I
Yes.
worry about the dam removal puts us on a slippery slope. So, and I'm not sure we would have as much, this, I don't know. I just think
I
it's
think that's the bigger
balanced to have them
picture.
both.
Yeah.
It's balanced to have them both.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the way that this timing works, so the reason why we tried to schedule it when we did is because DER expects the service to be posted, like the applications to be posted at the end of August or early September. And the way it works is once that gets posted, they're not allowed to conduct any site visits at properties because, yeah, it's just kind of like a conflict. So the idea is to get them to the site before that service gets posted so that they can get an idea of the site. And so then if we end up applying, not that we have like an upper hand, but it helps. So that's kind of why we tried to rush it a little bit, is because we didn't want, they have no idea when it's going to be posted because it's at the state level, so it's not in their hands.
Just 2 or 3 weeks there beyond.
Yeah. Okay.
How long does this site visit take? Is it a half a day, a day?
So they said 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. is when they can come. And they
yeah.
actually offered that they're heading to the Natick dam removal after, I think at 11 a.m. So they have to leave Carlisle by 10:30. And they actually invited everyone to join. So the Natick Dam is currently in construction, and the Charles River Watershed Association is hosting office hours there to answer questions about the project and dam removal in general. So they offered that as an additional opportunity to anyone who was interested in going. But yes.
I think this sounds wonderful.
Well, if you can make it, that's great. Unfortunately, I have
I
a
can.
10 o'clock meeting with my customer on Friday, so
Uh-huh. Can anyone else make it? I
Yeah,
can
can
definitely.
I
anyone
can.
make it?
Can you make it? Yeah.
Sounds like Tony and Brian and Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to invite the land stewards? Chris,
Yeah, I
or
was-
the Friends of the Bog, let's say?
Yep.
Yeah, I won't be
Chris and John?
I won't be in town on the 14th. Actually,
So
I
should we
won't be
reach
able to
out to
make the
John
14th.
Ballantyne?
Mm-hmm.
You could send John over, but then it's sort of an open
Yeah,
meeting.
I would stay away from
Right.
I would stay in LSC and ConsCom just because we're gonna have 5 valuable staff members of DER that we can ask questions to. So I do fear that if we start inviting a lot of people, then it won't be as helpful because we won't be able to ask. The commission owns the land, so it will be really important for you all to get the questions that you want answered.
So Chris, is there someone else from the land stewards that could attend?
I'm the liaison.
You're going to be in Vermont.
Yeah, she's trying to change it.
If the commission wants me to try to reschedule, I can.
So Chris, is there who's in charge of the bog from from LSC?
Well, we haven't sort of split properties up in that fashion. I mean, I think it would be nice if the LSC was involved in these discussions.
Can you reach out and
yeah.
see who
I
would
can
be
see if
available?
maybe Alex will be in town. I know I'll be out of town, but
I know he's
Alex as
commuting
vice
back
chair
and
could do
forth
it.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little unstable internet tonight. But I'll reach out to Alex.
That would be great.
George, Christina has her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Christine.
Thank you. Christina Christodolopoulos, Hemlock Hill Road. May I be bold and invite myself, just since ESC has been part of the conversation, just so more for learning, not to take up time, but just to learn.
What do you think, Megan? We open it up to one. We should open it up to all.
I don't know. Originally I was like, oh my gosh, I'll invite the select board, I'll invite ESC, I'll invite everyone. And then I don't know if it's the best use of their time, but it's ultimately your decision.
Well, they're primarily preaching to us, right? As opposed to we can ask questions at the end kind of idea, but
Yeah. If others do come, I want it to be clear that it's commission and LSC centered and not really a time for like the public to be, asking like some questions are okay, but you know what I mean. It's really
Yes.
like they're coming to meet with the dam owners and the cranberry bog owners. But I will leave that decision to you guys.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Yeah,
a
you're
lot.
welcome.
It's a short time to cover a lot of territory.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I
I'm
think
surprised it's so short.
It's an opportunity for them to see the site, right? If they haven't seen it, they're not going to be able to answer a lot of questions until they understand the site a little better. So I think I'm fine missing it. There should be opportunities to ask questions later, but I think it's going to be more for them to learn about the site, what it looks like too. So I think it's a great idea.
So if I may, then could ESC at least get a report of what they, the information that they presented, or
Yeah, of course. I mean, like after the site visit, I would like the commission to discuss everything that was talked about, so it'll definitely be discussed again at our meeting following that. But in addition to that, I can write up a little summary. I'll probably end up doing that anyway, so I can send it along to anyone who's interested.
Okay, so I won't put you in a difficult position. I'll uninvite myself. But
I'm
I
sorry.
would love to just, information is important, just
Yeah.
understanding, and it's a good educational opportunity. So I would love any information you can impart. Thanks.
And so, one question I have is, do you all feel comfortable authorizing me to apply for this service once it gets posted, or do you want to wait till after the site visit occurs to
It's non-binding.
talk it through? Yeah, it's
So then
there's no commitment.
Right.
And I've also been talking to ORS, and they have offered to help me. You know, they do this stuff all the time. So they said that they would help fill out the application if the commission agrees it's something that they want to do.
Is it just for dam removal or is it for restoration as well? Or separate for restoration?
The service is just dam removal, not cranberry bog restoration. But at the site visit, there's people from both programs.
So you're asking an additional question beyond the meeting on the 15th, whether we want to sign up for the dam removal program?
14.
Yeah, to apply for the service.
Just
what was that?
Apply for this.
The dam
the
removal
service.
preliminary design service.
And is there a cost to that?
No, it's free. So what
Free,
happens is
yeah.
you apply, they decide through the applications who they select, and then DER contracts out consulting companies that do all of the data collection and they manage the contract. So we don't have to do anything. They just say, oh, the cranberry bog, that looks like a great place to do this study. And then we literally do nothing. Maybe we give them some information that they need, take them to the site, but they manage all the contracts. And then when they get all those final reports, they give it to us. And then the commission just has all that information, and you're not binded at all. You don't have to say, it's not like you have to go through with the dam removal. It just gives you the information. So we'll get the cost, some like preliminary design of what it would look like, everything really. Which is
Can they
really
help us
cool.
also with whether or not this could be decommissioned? Or
You're
is it-
saying, could they help?
Yeah.
So I've explored that, and I don't I can pretty confidently say that it can't be. Because if you look at the inspection reports of both dams, they both exceed the height requirement, and they both exceed the storage capacity requirement, both of them. And so those are the two criteria of decommissioning, or yeah, taking that jurisdiction away from the dam. So I don't see how we could ever decommission them. And in addition, I think Sylvia in I think it was like 2011 helped to try to decommission the Curve Street Dam, and ODS said no.
No, actually, that
So
was an application by the dam inspector people
mhm,
at the request of the Board of Selectmen.
yeah,
And it didn't fly with
yes.
yeah. And
So
basically, I think it's because it's a road over the top of the dam, the Curve Street Dam.
Well, anyway, they're going to look at both dams, right? Both CBD
at all.
1 and the Curve Street Dam for the project, or
yeah,
no?
but they'd be looking at removal. So
Right,
yeah, they'd be
for both.
decommissioning them, but
Right, I get it. Yeah,
through removal.
removal for both of those. Right.
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
And the Fisk Street. It would be the cranberry bog.
Is there a reason to get them involved on the Fisk Street Dam?
It's a dam.
Well, okay.
I mean, it'd be kind of silly to just take out one or two, in my opinion. But that's like maybe that's what you guys want. I don't know. Maybe
can we
that's a
do
different
both?
My concern
conversation for
is
a different time.
I would hate to see, I would hate to invite them in to look at the Fifth Street Dam and then find that they've decided to regulate it.
That's an issue.
Yeah, but again, that's just information, right? Like at some point, if it's jurisdictional and they just haven't caught it, like at some point they're catch it. Just like for so long, the Curve Street Dam and Dam number 1 were jurisdictional, and then all of a sudden they were. You know what I mean? I feel like we should kind of try to play by the rules and use that as information to make an informed decision. Because if it's a dam, it's a dam.
When the site visit was done originally back around 2000, the state went around and categorized all dams. The Fifth Street Dam was a very different looking dam, and it was refurbished by Mark Dovey. And it looks a lot different after he did that. And it was for the Cranberry operation. He needed to have that pond there. And so the reason you get the lily pads right there next to the dam or the dike is because it was probably just scooped up there and put on top of the dam, and then it made taller and wider and gravel on top, and they never came back and reviewed it again. They just didn't know, I guess, anything had happened. But this is all agricultural. You could do it then.
So Megan, one quick question. There are 2 dam sites in the Cranberry Bog, and the question is, they've got an hour and a half for us.
There are 3.
Is that sufficient time to do both of them, or do we need to ask them about, does it make sense to do both?
There are 2 jurisdictional dams. There are 3 dams, but 2 jurisdictional dams.
Yeah, I think the site visit would be walking the whole bog, probably walking through Fifth Street and then going up to dam number 1 and
Okay.
coming back. It would be a full tour, because again, there's going to be people from the Cranberry Bog Restoration Program. So just walking around, we'll fill them in on a little bit of history. We can ask them questions. They'll ask us questions.
Got it.
That's what I'm
Okay.
envisioning. So, do you want to wait on addressing that question of if you would authorize me to apply to that service, or are you comfortable doing it now?
I think we should authorize you.
I don't see a downside to it, right? Like,
It's just information.
Me
Exactly.
neither. So yes, please go ahead and inquire about actually getting them to do their evaluation of the Cranberry Bog dams.
I'm not sure how I feel about removal, but I'd like the information.
Yeah, exactly. Then you might know how you feel if you're like, oh, that's not what I want, or that is. It's just,
No
yeah,
commitment.
me digging up all that information would not be as accurate and take a lot longer. So,
One of the other things that I worry about is that we have certain water rights that come in from Chelmsford, and it's sort of a technical issue about dam removal as well. It's under the Water Management Act.
Haven't we lost those rights because we're not using it for agriculture?
Nope.
No? Okay.
We've got it till 2030 or 31 in there somewhere.
I think it's 33, I checked.
33, no.
But I've been researching about the water rights.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I don't
just
know if this
complicated,
is the time to dive in.
I get it.
All right, Megan, do you
Before
have
we-
enough?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So, at the MAC conference, I think I mentioned this before, both of the dam removal sessions that I went to, they stressed over and over and over again, like beating a drum, that removing the dam was just the teeny weeny little bit of the, beginning step in a process, maybe the first thing you do in a project that's already been a much bigger project you've already mapped out. That it's really just a step. a small step, maybe the smallest step in a restoration project. So where is the free service or the design service for bog restoration, and why aren't we starting with that?
Well,
Because
we
dam
can
removal is,
inquire about that too. But the thing is, I think the cranberry bog restoration people from DR will probably let us know what grants and services they have. What I've gathered from my research is that there are a lot of programs through the state to remove dams and restore cranberry bogs, and like the dam removal, as you mentioned, is just one step, but what follows the dam removal is restoration. So there's a lot of funding for that. And so to a lot of people's points, there's a lot of funding for all that restoration work, but not so much all that funding for building dams or repairing dams. So there's a lot of programs out there. There's the MVP program, DER has programs, EcoStop, Eco One Stop through the state. You can apply to many programs through that.
well, so the thing is, we can't really make a decision on dam removal and whether to pull the trigger on it without having a bog restoration program, you know, like a design concept action plan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, like, how do we get the restoration thinking underway in parallel rather than thinking that we can start with dam removal and ignore that until, you know, and do one without having any concept of the other, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. I think it's good to know that there's a lot more than just the dam removal, but I think just getting the information will be good. And then we can also, in parallel, while we're waiting for that, look into different programs for restoration and what the cost of that would be. I don't think that this service would solve like all of the problems. There's still a lot of different layers. This is just one of them. And that's how I see it.
So one other thing, when's the H&H study coming back? It was supposed
It's supposed to be at the end of August or early September. So I think when I talked to them last week, they said they were collecting their transducers at the Cranberry Bog, which have been collecting all that water data for a couple months. So once they have that, they calibrate it to their models, and then they'll start reaching out to ODS and so
ODS. Why would why would they reach out to ODS?
It's in the H&H study contract.
What is
the coordination with ODS to talk about types of repairs to the dam? I can get it up, please.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just study data.
Nope. It's basically an H&H study to back a design of a dam.
Right. Okay.
And so part of it is coordinating with ODS.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okie doke. Thank you.
So do you want to make a vote to authorize me, or if you're not comfortable, but I think I would feel more comfortable with the vote authorizing me to apply to that than just doing it on my own.
I'll make a motion to authorize Megan to apply for the, what do we call it?
I can't find it now.
DER.
Preliminary design services.
Preliminary design services.
Yeah, dam removal preliminary design
services, so that we can gather more information.
Second.
I don't like that sound of preliminary.
Why?
Why?
I think it should be a word that is a little more like
isn't that what their program is called?
No, potential.
Potential, yeah. It sounds like
Oh, I see.
They're putting
What's
us
the
on a
program called?
railroad
But
track that we can't get off of.
there's
Oh, yeah, no, I
there's no
agree with you.
commitment.
Oh, what's the program called? What can we just name
Well,
the program?
potential dam removal, right?
No, just the, yeah, what was the
Well, it's
program?
the Mass Division of Ecological Restoration. And then I think there's a dam removal program within DER that offers the dam removal preliminary
That's the name
design
of their
services.
service. That's the name of their services, though, Sylvia. That's the
Yeah.
DER.
But the word preliminary is not
Dam
in.
removal preliminary design services. It
Right.
just means that here's a
Yeah,
preliminary,
rename it. Yeah.
and it and part of the services is not committal. So I think it does not indicate in that title that you're on a one-way train to dam removal. It's
It
just giving you
says
the
it on
preliminary.
it
It's
says it on the website several times. There's no commitment, there's no commitment. I asked them, there's really no commitment. They said, of course not. That's why we do it. It's really just to gather information. So dam owners have information at hand to
meaning it's
inform
the
their
first
decision.
design if you so choose, and you may modify it. It's a preliminary design. If you
That's
so
right. Or you can ignore it.
or say bye-bye. No, thank you.
I know.
Yep. Right. Okay, so do you want me to reword my motion?
No, I think
You got
I
it.
don't remember where we were in it.
But
I
Did it
seconded.
get seconded?
you
Okay.
seconded it. Just make sure the name of the program is spelled correctly. We're good.
Sorry, who seconded?
Navneet.
Thank you. So we'll take a quick roll call vote and move on. Navneet,
Aye, sorry.
Brian,
What did you say? Did you say me? No. Yeah,
we're taking a
yeah,
roll
aye.
call vote.
Aye, yes. No, I heard Navneet and then I watched her yawn and tried not to.
Oh, sorry. Catching. Melissa,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Sylvia.
Okay.
All right. Chair votes aye, the motion passes. Thank you. All right. Shall we mow some fields?
Yes. Sure. So we officially have a contract in place with Farmer Duffy for mowing at Benfield, Toll, Woodward, and Foss. At our last meeting, we decided to prioritize mowing at Toll and Benfield first. So now we said we would discuss the frequency of that mowing, time of year of that mowing. But right now, I talked to Farmer Duffy this week. Because of the nature of farming, his schedule is ever changing. So he didn't have an exact date of when he was going to be out there, but he said as soon as, because his days are dependent on weather and a bunch of things. So as soon as he has space in his schedule, he's going to go out to Toll to mow, and he said he would give me the best heads up that he can. But the reason I asked him to go to Toll before Benfield is because if we have the thistle herbicide treatment done at Toll, we need the mowing to happen like very soon.
Right.
For the thistle to grow up, and then it can be treated in like a month. So that's the status on that. But the question is, do we want Toll mowed again in the spring? Do we just want it this one time? Same for all of the fields.
So we have a contract to do 4 fields twice.
Exactly. So
Okay.
the contract lasts until the end of the next fiscal year, so June 30th, 2027. So
Got
we
it.
could have him do a mow now and then in the spring, or just now. It feels kind of
Well,
silly maybe to do now and then again in the fall. I don't think that's feasible. So it seems
Yeah.
like either one mow now or a mow now and then a mow in the spring.
I would support that operation. And you want to do Toll Farm first? And it sounds like he's wants to do Foss Farm sort of in the fall.
Yeah,
To go Foss Farm until the fall.
yeah, I spoke to Zoo New England about the New England Blazing Star at Foss Farm, and their recommendation was to wait until fall to mow the area.
Yep.
So you know, if he does Toll now, then Benfield, and then maybe Foss, then I feel like that will probably be fall.
And then Woodward.
And Woodward. But the question remains if it's a one and done or
2 mowings per property. So what do
Right.
you mean by one and done? You mean not one mowing this fall?
This year.
This
right.
year.
And
Well,
then the
last
second
time-
spring.
Last time we talked, there were people who said that they didn't want the mowing in the spring and they just thought it would be. I thought that that was a conversation.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. So
Maybe.
everyone's comfortable with now and spring?
So can I ask about now versus after the first frost? Like, are there environmental differences for the bugs, or like is it worse to wait and mow it when they're, you know, not pupating, but you know, they're overwintering? And is he going to do stripes at Toll? I think that's what they did in the past, or is he just going to mow the whole thing?
He's just gonna mow. I think he's just gonna mow what he can, besides probably the woody vegetation that he's not able to get with this mower. But yeah, I think he's just gonna mow it all the same, just to give it like a clean
Yeah.
start.
I think the benefit of mowing is your selective mowing selectively discourages the annual invasives and annual non-natives. Whereas, because the perennials, which are native, survive very well through the mowing, right? So it does discourage the seed head formation. So if you wait till the winter, you've allowed all the seed heads to generate, and basically you've resown non-native annuals and created a big seed bed. If you wait.
So my question was different to the, you know, if we mow today, do we kill all the crickets? And if we wait until the frost, I just don't know ecologically what, maybe you do, Megan. I'm sure people have researched this a lot more than me raising the question, but is there a right time, quote unquote, to mow? I know that they used to say wait on haying because you kill all the birds that are nesting in the fields. And they
Yeah, my understanding is that the fall is typically a good time of year to mow. But again, I think the understanding of this contract was that we were just gonna mow all the properties to give them a fresh start. And then after that, we can consider the wildlife and plants at each individual property and come up with what works best for that specialized property, because I think it might be different property to property. But there are ground nesting birds in the spring. We're at the end of that now. And I think typically, and all in the past, mowing happened in the fall. And to my knowledge, that's a fine practice, but there could be things that I'm missing.
But you said mow now, which is August, this isn't quite the.
I think
Yeah,
she means
I don't know.
fall.
I don't know if it makes a
I
difference.
think she means fall, September,
Well,
October, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But
for
yeah.
Toll, I would want mowing there like
Right away.
ASAP, just so
Yeah.
that we can do the herbicide treatment. But I guess my point is that we're past the ground nesting bird part
Right.
of the year.
And Duffy has to harvest later, so he may have a window now that he doesn't have in September. I don't know if that's true or not, but he might.
Yeah.
So there are places on Toll that haven't been mowed in 4 years, another place 3 years, and another 2 years. Nothing was done last year. We're trying to bring it back to some sort of beginning and stabilization. And none of the fields were mowed last year at all.
Right. So this is why I would say the fall / now, and Toll first on the list.
Yeah.
As of the herbicide.
Or the herbicide, right?
And I think the discussion of the last meeting was to do Benfield next. And then later, because of the flowers,
Foss and Woodward.
Woodward and.
Yeah, what Megan said was their initial proposal. I guess the question is, do we need to decide now about a second mowing timing, or can we
Why don't we see how it acts?
Exactly. That's I don't think we need to decide that today. Or is there a reason, Megan, that I'm missing that needs to be discussed today?
And I just wanted to ask, LSC had talked about making sure that whoever mowed cleaned off their mower between fields, because you could mow toll and get thistle seed stuck in your mower and then go to, Foss and spread it.
I think that's in the contract.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it?
it is. And Farmer Duffy
It
had
is, yeah.
realized that he would do that.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
And the other thing I want to point out, I think Sylvia is the only one who really would support me in this, but one year, I'm going to say maybe it was 2022 or 2021, we actually never paid Duffy for his year. And
Brian, I don't think this is this isn't
Okay.
relevant.
It's just disappointing. I just wanted to bring it
No,
up.
I know, but it's already been. I don't want to keep bringing it up every time we talk about mowing. I don't
Okay.
know if it's the best use of time.
So we have a couple of hands raised. Christina?
Hi, sorry, trouble unmuting. There was a discussion for Toll about not having potentially a spring mowing and to implement the rotation that never actually was fully implemented, that was approved but never fully implemented beforehand. And so there had been discussion to just do the one mowing to get it sort of back to ground zero, so to speak, this calendar year, and then starting in the spring, actually implementing the rotation plan that's already been approved. So just wanted to remind that. Thanks.
Well, I think we agreed that we're only going to get one mowing per field in the fall. And next year, 2027, we will figure out what to do with the second mowing. Chris, Spinney.
Yeah, I'm just curious why, this feels like an LSC
Thank
discussion.
you. I was just about to say that, Chris. Thank you.
And I don't know if you guys are going to make all this time available to discuss mowing. I don't know what we'll talk about.
Yeah, I literally, you just took the thought right out of my lap. I was going to say, okay, if we need to move forward with this first mowing, let's do that. But then let's have LSC discuss and come up with some thoughts on timing plus or slash doing or not doing a second mowing for each property, and then present what they conclude. You have some really smart minds on that group that can think about this.
It sounds like a good idea. I agree with you.
Yeah, we're gonna go do a site visit with Mark Duffy on Monday to Benfield, so and just to talk about what we expect to see after he's done, basically, or if there's anything we need to do. So I just feel like this is it sounds like an LSC meeting, that's all.
Yeah, it does.
Thanks.
You're right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think the reason I wanted to discuss tonight is first to figure out the order that things were mowed in, and also I wanted to give Mark Duffy some sort of proactive heads up about what our expectations are. I know spring is far away, but I feel like we've been in a reactionary state for a long time. So the idea that I had was just trying to get ahead of it. And this was discussed I feel like this has been discussed at the last 10 meetings. So I was like, I'll put it on again, and then maybe we can really decide what we're gonna do. But
We
if
have
LSC
LSC now. Yeah.
wants to take it over, that's fine. But I just don't want it to take so long to discuss that Mark Duffy has so much going on. I want him to have enough time to plan if he needs to fit mowing into his spring schedule. That's all. I just want I want him to be prepared. That's all.
And I think that once these get mowed, it's been so long since some of it's been mowed. I think we need an opportunity to do a little research and walking around and seeing what's happening and a little analysis. And because some of the mowing hasn't happened in so long in some places, it might be very difficult to not mow again, just to chew the stuff up. Who knows? I mean, Toll in particular has some really tight places with really tough places.
Yeah, I think this is the exact discussion that the LSC can have. And then also it sounds like they already have a meeting set up with Farmer Duffy. I understand Megan's point about we have been in a reactionary phase. I think, Sylvia, your point is well taken. However, that does set us up for a reactionary stance again, that like, let's wait and see what happens and then tell Farmer Duffy what we want. So I think that it's a delicate balance between observation and also like having a plan that we can always adjust. But I think LSC is poised to think that through and then, but present quickly to us. It sounds like they're meeting in a timely fashion with Farmer Duffy, but then quickly present that what they decide or determine is the best course of action for the spring.
And the next meeting is only 8 days away, so
That's right.
12 days away. 18th, I think is it.
I'm thrilled they're on it. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, then I think we're good to go.
All right, I don't think we need a motion right here. I think we need to rely upon what LSC learns and can recommend. Well, let's move on to item number 9. Discuss wetland bylaw revision.
I have a feeling people are going to want to push this one to the next meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
We have to. Yes, it's already
To stop by
10:15.
midnight. That's the law.
Maybe we should have like a separate wetland bylaw meeting. I don't know. It just feels
It just gets punted everything.
it's just so much to go over, and yeah. Okay, I'll figure something out.
Well, having a separate meeting was probably not a bad idea. It is a big topic. All right, item 10, commission annual reorganization. You get to elect a chair and a vice chair. You're looking for
The moment
volunteers.
you've all been waiting for.
Hey, George has been doing a fabulous job.
Exactly.
Well, I'd be happy to, but if someone else is very interested in assuming the mantle, I would be happy to co-chair or step aside, but
Oh, does that sound, it sounds like you're maybe willing to stay on a little longer?
a little longer, yeah.
Oh, that's
But that's all right.
wonderful news. That is wonderful news. You've made my night.
I
All right,
I
well,
nominate George Shepard to be the chair of the ConsCom for another tour.
I
And
second.
I nominate Melissa Webster to be vice chair.
Oh,
For FY27, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All in one breath, huh?
I didn't hear that part.
The name of the game.
Aye,
No, I agree. I think Melissa, you would be great in that position. And then you could slide into my position and I can retire.
aye. May
All
they
right.
never come.
Well, we'll see. Can I get a motion to elect me as chair and Melissa as co-chair?
Navneet already did it. I'll second it.
This is like
Okay.
status quo here.
Vice chair, not co-chair, right?
Yeah.
Vice chair, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan was co-chair though, right?
No.
Vice chair.
Vice.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. I could be
All right.
junior
We'll
vice chair.
take a roll call vote. I probably have to recuse myself, right?
I don't think so.
Yourself?
Because it's
Damn.
a joint motion for 2 positions, so you're
And,
not.
and you can vote for yourself. Every
Yeah.
elected
All right, all right.
Yeah,
Let's
I won't
get
say
going
Trump
here.
did, so.
Sylvia,
Aye.
Tony, Melissa,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Navneet,
Aye.
You.
chair votes aye. We
Ah.
can move on.
You know you love
We should
Melissa.
note
You know
that
you love
Melissa
her.
took a pause before she.
Boy, I didn't see this one coming.
All right, to pay some bills.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, what?
What, Brian?
Pay some
I couldn't hear
bills.
what you said.
Oh, let's pay some bills.
Oh, pay some
Let's pay
bills.
some bills.
Okay, this
We
is
have-
the part where I'm just gonna fly through. Okay.
Are you done yet?
$65 bill for Carlisle rubbish, which can be paid from the LSC repair and maintenance budget, just a routine expense. We have $29.18 from Amazon for a couple of office supplies. And that can be paid from the general fund office supply line item. And then $205 from MACC. So part of this is that Noel signed up for a wetland and upland shrub course that can be paid from the general fund training line item. And then $130 paid for the annual staff dues for Noel and I, and that can be paid from our general fund dues and subscription line item. So at the last meeting, we paid for the commission subscription, but they didn't invoice us for our Noel and I's subscription. So that's why it's
okay.
on 2 meeting agendas in a row. And then the last expense is Dog Waste Depot for $199.58, another routine purchase for dog bags on conservation property, and that can be paid from the LSC repair and maintenance budget. Any questions?
I make a motion to accept the bills.
Second.
Ryan, meet. We'll take a quick roll call vote. Sylvia,
Aye.
Tony.
Tony's muted.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
He's
see his
waving
hand
though.
up.
It's okay. I see it.
Aye. Aye.
Melissa.
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Navneet.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion passes. Thank you. All right, vote to approve the minutes.
We put that off.
Noel, can you bring up Sylvia's edits to, I think it was the 16th?
But that was a no. We can't put that off.
Why did we have to put it off?
Is this
It's
10:30 at
quick.
night?
For a minute? The rest of the items will be really quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said for the
But-
16th, Megan.
Yes, I think
And
those are the ones she had.
7:16.
Okay. Hold on.
Thank you.
Alright, can you
Yeah,
Never
Sylvia
mind.
had some edits. They're in there. We don't have to go through them all, but if people had a chance to read them, they're on the screen.
I have one,
Any-
I have one edit. I wasn't present for that one and my name is listed at the top. It's my son's 16th
Oh
birthday.
my gosh.
On July 16th, or was it the last meeting?
July
This
16th.
is
We're
July
July
16th.
16th right now.
Wow,
That
I
was
can't
the
believe I
last
missed that.
I thought it was the 6:25 meeting.
No, I know. I think she just jumped to that one because you have edits there.
Yeah, exactly.
But she's
Yeah.
got to know when her kid's birthday is.
Yeah.
You were there, right?
I was not. I was gripping the side of the car while he was driving.
Okay, I can make the
No, I mean
adjustment.
at the birth. I meant at the birth.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Noel.
I was just gonna say I can make the edit tomorrow because I can't access our files.
Yeah.
So this is just like but I'll make note of that. So was there anything else that anyone saw from these minutes besides what Sylvia had put?
Was there something in it that I had as a comment? Because this is 2 meetings,
There was
right?
no, this
No,
is last meeting. This is
7:16 was last
7:16.
meeting. For
There was one.
comments, you said for the land use permit, several
yeah.
properties names. So I did add the names of them.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if there was any other questions.
Okay.
You know, I remember you saw
Did you go all the way up to the top again?
correcting Dr. Rockwood instead of Mr.
Minor. So that's July 16. But
Mhm.
but I don't think we vote. What's on the agenda is 6:25.
There's both
They're
on the
both, they're
agenda.
both there.
Okay. All right. That was the one I think I had a question on.
So do we need to vote them separately? Do we need to just say we accept this if you strike Navneet as an attendee?
You could just say it's amended.
As
As
amended.
discussed and
I'm
amended.
sorry.
tonight.
Okay, as amended. Okay.
This may have been the one I think I had a question on.
All right, June 25th.
Scan down through.
Oh, I remember you said there was like parenthesis, or it was putting things in parentheses, and that was
Oh,
how
yeah.
the minutes had just generated. So I had edited it to read more of like
Yeah.
a regular minutes and not have things in parentheses that shouldn't be in parentheses.
Parentheses are usually meant for things that aren't important.
Yes,
Or
I
for
read
clarification.
Yes. So I rewrote them to read more like just minutes and not have things.
Yes, you removed the parentheses and said "of" instead or something. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Right, so just need a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Great.
Thank you.
So I read the
Roll call.
minutes in the packet
Oh,
before I tackle anything else that's in the packet. It is really good to go over the minutes and just scan through them because it helps set your mind on what's coming up next and what you need to think about when you're looking at the stuff that's coming in, just so you know.
that's a good point.
Yeah,
It's very helpful.
we should all adopt that.
Okay, best practice.
All right, so
Over the weekend sometime.
Roll call vote.
right, exactly. So this is for 6/25/26. Navneet,
I vote for the June 25th, but I recuse myself from July 16th.
Okay.
understood. So I'm just looking for the June 25th. Brian,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Tony, were you there?
Was not I attended, but I wasn't a member yet.
Wasn't a
So,
member yet.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Sylvia,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, so the June minutes are good. And then we had Brian and Navneet proposed for 7/16/26. So Sylvia,
Aye.
Tony, you weren't a member of
He was.
Oh,
He
you
was,
are.
yeah.
Then, yeah,
Yes.
so
His
I.
first
First
meeting.
time.
Yep.
Yay.
Mhm.
And Melissa,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Navneet.
Recuse myself.
Oh, that's right. And she did. So the chair votes aye, and that passes too. Okay.
You weren't there, George.
Guess I wanted to be though. All right, never mind.
Okay, sounds good. Passes.
Liaison update, please. CPC?
That would be me. I've had a meeting to open the application period for applications for CPC at the fall town meeting. Barely had a quorum there because the three of us had to be actually nominated or approved by the select board, and we hadn't been yet. That would be the next day. And it didn't look like there was a whole lot of activity planned, but it was just an opening of the application period. And it will close next Monday, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. But then in the packet was the draft of the cycle coming up for Springtown meeting. And they're going to be looking for information for possible CPC applications from people or committees, fairly quickly. Like they want to know what's happening. So take a look at that in your packet, or I can send it to you as a separate document.
All right. Anything else, Sylvia? Is that good?
CRAC hasn't met yet this summer, so I can't report on anything from CRAC.
And DPW.
DPW Building Committee, yeah, that's me. So as you all know, we recommended a particular designer, HKA, for contract negotiation. And HKA invited us on a little field trip to see one of their recently completed projects, which is the DPW facility in Hudson, which is a town about 3 times our size. I would call it the Cadillac of DPW buildings. It's got a few more bells and whistles than we need, but they manage their own water and sewer. They have big municipal services too, so
Yeah,
it's a much
different.
bigger operation. But anyway, useful, very helpful. Several of us went on that, along with a member of the Mosquito. And then we met yesterday to review and discuss the HKA contract draft with Ryan, and voted to recommend to the select board that they sign it. Select board meets next week. We had some modifications to it, which we suggested. But in general, I think we feel very good about our design firm. And just FYI, I think I mentioned last time, the currently proposed site for the new building is not where the existing DPW facility is, which is the old indoor horse arena that was converted in the 1980s. But it would replace the building that's behind the swap shed and the recyclable containers. There's a storage barn there, which is actually like a Morton barn. What we do with that, we're not sure, but the new building would go there. We still have, various issues around, it's still in the buffer zone, or some of it is, but it's up higher. There's less chance of runoff, I think, where it would be. But anyway, it probably will work better. But tentatively, that's the concept. So, more coming. We will see what the select board says. And then there will be one of the things that that was a great suggestion from Julie Mercier was that we involve the town boards and committees much earlier in the design process, before there's any preliminary designs for conversations. So we can expect to be contacted to have a date on the calendar for that.
Good.
Not too distant future.
Well, thank you for the review.
Yep.
All right, item 14, international. Mass DEP has issued draft updates to the Wetlands Protection Act and the 401 Water Quality Certification Regulations. Megan, I have not seen those. Is that something you can distribute to commissioners just to educate us?
Yeah, there's information in the packet.
Oh, it was. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there should be a resource that links you to DEP's website and the regulations. But yeah, they're called the Climate Resilience 1.5 regulations. The comment period is July 16th to August 20th. And MACC hosted a lunch and learn yesterday to review the draft regulations and discuss potential comments. They usually post their lunch and learns recordings on their website, so I can send those around. I also attended a Mass DEP training, and they gave us the slides, not the recording, and I think I put that in the packet. So yeah, I did. Okay, so you're all welcome to look at that, or ask me any questions if you have them.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to make any comments, Megan, about what you think the most substantive changes are and what the impact will be on our?
It's supposed to it's supposed to streamline, I'm trying to think of the word. It's supposed to streamline a lot of conservation or restoration projects. So they're updating cranberry bog restoration, for instance. They're making a lot of changes, even trail maintenance. There's slight nuances in there, but invasive species removal and treatment, they're making it a little easier and streamlining. So those kinds of projects, they're trying to make it a bit easier. I haven't dived deep into it yet, but that's what I could gather. So overall, it's good. It's like a finally moment. It's been a long time coming.
I'm
Good to
worried
know.
we should have a
Yeah.
good idea of what's going on because we're looking at our bylaw and we want to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
it's tied in well.
We are compliant, right?
Yep. Agreed.
Thank you.
All right, item 15. Draft priority habitat map of rare species available for public comment. We have until October 4th.
Yes, and I actually just looked at the new map today because it just came out yesterday, and there were a few changes in Carlisle. So now the entirety of Foss Farm is included in that priority habitat, and the Davis Corridor has a big section that goes north to south. So a few areas in Carlisle were added. None were taken away that I saw. Just some additions. But I can also send that link around to the map so you can all see. It's a draft, so it's not finalized yet, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yes. Great.
Okay.
Item 16, monitoring report received for invasive species management efforts at 19 Estabrook Road, DEP file 125-1079 and 125-1077. Continuing condition.
Oh, I meant to say that this is informational too. Whoops. Yeah, this is just informational. They have to supply reports to us because they have a continuing condition to do so. So I just wanted the commission to know that they're continuing to do that. And that is in the packet if you're interested.
Okay. And informational CONSCOM is scheduled to meet with the select board at their September 22 meeting. So is this the
Yes.
whole board that we're trying to get? Is it going to be remote or last time it was in person, I recall?
They have hybrids, so you can join in person or remotely. But basically the select board, the fiscal year just started, so they want to meet with all the boards and committees this year. I think they have a couple new faces, so I think they're trying to gauge what each committee and board does and get to know what their objectives and goals are. So the select board's particularly interested in how CONSCOM is handling land management, especially like future plans, or yeah, like long-term planning. So it's not that everyone has to be there, but like if I'll be there, but if there's like 2 or 3 people that can go that day, I think that's good. I think preferably more than one, just so that the select board can see that the commission wants to, show up for them and work with them. But it definitely doesn't have to be the whole commission.
Okay. Well, I
Right?
went
Just a
last
couple
year,
people.
so I will plan to go.
Are they meeting with land stewards or should land stewards be included in our meeting?
I'm not sure. Yeah, Gretchen just reached out to boards and committees. Do you know, Chris, did
I-
Gretchen reach out to you?
Have not seen an invitation.
Yeah. I'm assuming CONSCOM covers what LSC is doing.
But
So,
having somebody from the LSC there, I think would be
yeah.
an idea.
Lend some
And so
credibility. Yeah.
the other ideas, this is kind of far out, so if there's any discussion you want to have before of like planning how we're going to address their questions about long-term management plans, we can put that on an agenda beforehand and be prepared to answer their questions and things
Yeah.
like that. But I'll be there. I think Sarah will be there. And so, yeah, if an LSC members want to come and CONSCOM, a couple CONSCOM members, then I think that's sufficient.
Well, I think if they're after long-term management of conservation land, I think the land stewards should be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be posted, right? All 3 groups?
No, I mean,
Only
it
if
could
there's
be, but
quorums.
I mean, also, only if there's deliberation as well. There shouldn't be any deliberation. It should just be information, like you're just giving an update of what's going on.
Right. That's what happened last year.
Okay.
So Chris, you would be useful if you were available.
Sure.
Chris Bennington.
Yeah.
Or at least coordinate. If you're not available, then we should talk so that we can have a united front.
Right.
Did you?
All right. Does anybody want to adjourn or should we just keep going?
I do, but I just have a question. Did everybody see this email from Melissa Danis? About missing minutes from 2023 and
Oh,
2024
right. Yes.
and how we're gonna track that down.
Yeah, I think I feel like Noel and I can try to work on that.
Okay, it's not something that we need to be doing.
No, I don't think so. I think we can try to figure out what happened, why they're missing, and we'll try to figure it out.
Sounds good. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Thank you, Navneet and Brian. We'll take a quick roll call vote. Navneet,
Aye.
Brian,
aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Tony? Yeah, are you waving? There we go. Sylvia?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Thanks,
Good night.
everyone.
Right.
Is anybody?
Almost good morning.
Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night.